Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone. It's Friday night contact, and you're here with me, your host, and my co-host, and we will have Chris joining us. He will be a little bit late, but he will be joining us. And yeah, so we got lots to talk about. A few reboots to talk about. Squid Game and Peep Show. For anybody that's in the UK, they did a show called Peep Show. They decided that they're gonna give that a reboot. Netflix strike again with diversity on Cleopatra. We'll show you what we're talking about. The casting director for James Bond rules out a younger actor, and they claim that they wouldn't have the gravitas, which I agree with. Vox, which is a media outlet, has criticized Netflix for paying $40 million to platform a transphobic special by Ricky Gervais, according to them. Rick and Morty is going to get the anime treatment, and a new series is coming soon. I'm not really sure about that, to be quite honest. Why is something that will popped into my head, but we'll get into that. I also, it's not scrolled up on the screen, but I do want to talk about Sam Smith. Maybe at the end of this stream, we will tap into Matt Smith. Also, new Harry Potter series coming, a 10-year plan, new cast. We will be talking about that as well. So we've got loads to talk about. I'm pretty sure the lads, when they come on, they'll have other stuff to talk about as well. We've got plenty going on tonight. And I know Lee will definitely want to make a comment on the Sam Smith, which I'm going to show you. Hopefully, we don't get hit, but if we do get hit on this particular stream, I don't really care because this needs to be highlighted, and you will see what we're talking about a little bit later on. But this depravity that's going on in society needs to stop. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's I mean, we'll get into it later. We'll just leave it there. But let's start off, I suppose, with the big news this week is that HBO Max announced the new Harry Potter with J.K. Rowling coming in as an executive producer. She also put up a statement to say that she was delighted and that it was important that the integrity of the books and the characters are basically um, they're respected. And with her being an executive producer, she's used her head this time. And Lee will tell you she always gets involved in those projects anyway.
Oh
But
yeah.
this is good news for people out there that are already screaming. Well, this is going to be woke. Well, I'm sorry, I don't think you can really say that. She's come out with a statement, and so has HB there, because obviously there was a backlash to this from you know who, and they're now calling for a boycott, which I find funny because yeah, boycotts have worked. How did it work out for
Yeah,
Hogwarts?
look how well it worked out for Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, fail.
So Lee, let's get straight into it. I don't believe this will be. I think the reason why there's a 10-year plan is that even with the movies, they missed a lot of stuff and they had to make creative. She would have compromised on some of the because of the movies being the length that they had to be and stuff like that. And I know there's 7 or 8 movies, but she clearly thinks that the Harry Potter story hasn't been told the way she really wants it to be told. And this gives her a platform now over 10 years to actually do that. What is your thoughts on a new Harry Potter series in the first place? And do you think? And I want to point out that the HBO president actually came out as well and made the same statement that they weren't interested in any of the other drama that was going on. As far as they were concerned, they were there to write a great story, tell a great story. So I think that bodes well for them as well, because let's be honest, Lee, HBO Max, they have put some good content on their platform, but like all these streaming platforms, they're infested with their woke diversity rubbish that never gains any traction. So, what's your thoughts on Harry Potter returning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
with a new cast, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination someone who was on board with the Harry Potter thing originally. I mean, I was an extra in a couple of the movies and whatnot, but really, I'm all living for it as long as it upsets all the right people. Not that should be the only reason. I think it has been a cultural phenomenon. Whether or not they can bottle that and reprise that with the same effect, I don't know. This clearly with the success of Hogwarts Legacy, there is a thirst for it. I think Gen Z or Gen Z to the Americans are beginning to reject the woke. Recently, I've seen videos of students tearing down the Progress flag and protesting LGBTQ plus events, which is good.
Interesting.
Because it is authoritarian, and we're not all on board with that shit. So I think, there is room for this if she wants to expand upon her books and present the books more authentically than the movies. Good. I think there has been a distancing between the main cast of the original movies and her. So this is her opportunity to reclaim her work from these now activists, like Daniel Radcliffe recently went on to say that kids should be able to decide what gender they are when they're very young, which is ridiculous. I mean, kids at that age, identify as being an astronaut. There
has been a call, Lee. Would you agree with this? There has been a call for I think there's two of the original cast members have been very supportive of JK, and some fans are saying that, well, their loyalty should be kind of rewarded by getting a part in this. Would you agree with that? Because
Malfoy, is it Malfoy? I'm not very up on Harry Potter, but is it Malfoy, Draco, whatever? I don't know what his name is. Like the blonde-haired kid has been a support. He's grown up and now obviously he's like 30 or whatever.
He's been very supportive of her. Yeah,
been very vocally supportive of her. And someone suggested that he could play his own father. I think that's a great idea. Why not? Absolutely, that should piss off some more people. I'm all for that. Why not? I think
Tom Felton. It's Tom Felton.
Tom Felton. Yeah, thank you. So I'm all for it. Absolutely, because you have to. At this point in the game, you have to. They've doubled down, tripled down, all the rest of it. If we don't do the same, they win, and culturally we lose. So I think.
Do you know what though? I really do hope. I know there's a part of us that will be loving it because they will be throwing their toys out of the pram, but I really do hope that this is done properly, because if it's done properly and it's done the way that she wants it done, then it's going to be great to see on as a TV series, and then maybe each week it ends on some sort of a cliffhanger. So it's going to be interesting times ahead for this. I'm not traditionally a Harry Potter fan. I'll give it a go.
I would say though, just as an aside, really, don't think just because J.K. Rowling is involved that it's not going to be woke. She's always been fairly woke on a lot of things. Whether or not what's happened to her over the recent few years would have coloured that in any particular way, I can still imagine that you might have a race-swapped Hermione, for example, or a gay Dumbledore explicitly being gay.
Do you think she'd really do that, though? If
I can see
if she's talking about the integrity of our books being respected, then she'd be literally going against that if she did all of those things, though.
Well, if it is her decision to do it, it's her creation. She could do. It's like Disney's Star Wars isn't really Star Wars because it's not George Lucas. But she is J.K. Rowling. She is Harry Potter's George Lucas. If she decides that's what she wants, that's what she wants. Just bear that in mind, and I can even imagine, like, even in the Hogwarts game, there was a trans character in that, played by one who plays all the roles in Big Finish. can't remember his name. But yeah, so you.
But was
you
that
have
Horde
I
that
mean, I
put
can
that
imagine.
in, or was it the actual people that were making the game? They were allowed
I don't
some
know, but I don't
sort
think she
of
objected.
freedom.
She's not. She doesn't hate trans people. She's not against trans people.
No, she's
She's against
just
the ideology and the activism which surrounds it, which doesn't speak
yes,
for everybody. You know,
yeah,
that's the big difference, and
mm,
people need to cotton on to that because
yeah,
otherwise you're just swallowing the lies that have been perpetuated round and round and round again. She's not a transphobe. She never
yeah,
has been. So, you know, just bear that in mind going forward. But I
mm.
mean, personally, for me, like this was not a Hogwarts train that I got on at platform 9 3/4, even though I was on platform
No,
9 three
same,
quarters
mate,
originally.
same.
But she she's doing what she thinks she wants to do, and Warner Brothers are astute enough to think, well, this is a big cash cow, and they are going to go because they need to make some money because they've been screwing up so badly over the years. They need a success. Harry Potter's been a proven success. It's got a proven loyal
Actually,
fan base.
talking about them, they've done a merger now, so it's going to be HBO is going to be dropped, and it's going to be called Max. They've
Yeah, which is
merged with
ridiculous.
Warner or something,
Yeah, but
and
everything's called
their
Max
stocks. Yeah, but hang on,
nowadays.
their stocks after the Harry Potter announcement as well. Their stocks went down by 6%.
Well,
So
yeah.
HBO Max, how many times? Because someone brought it up, Lee. How many times has HBO Max been rebranded? Anyway, this is the fourth, fifth time or something.
It's ironic because it's really the HBO that people usually identify with quality. Not that
Yeah,
they've always produced quality. There's been a lot of duds over the years, but I mean, originally HBO was a world-class sign of good quality television.
yeah, it was.
Removing that and replacing it with the most absolutely generic name, Max. I mean, for crying out loud, everything's got Max. You got
Yeah,
HBO Max. You had something else, Max.
it's either
Even
Max or Plus.
yeah, even M1 Max Apple computers, and it's just so overused and so generic. It doesn't really mean anything. Uh, I think if they were going to drop any word, it should have just been Max and just kept it as HBO.
HBO, yeah, I agree with you because it is an iconic brand as well. You are right. You do associate that with great entertainment. Well, you used to.
Yeah.
Not as much now these days, but they still put a few gems on their streaming platform, I
Mm.
should say. So, yeah, it ain't gone. It hasn't been made international yet, says Nicholas. Well, how long has it been going though? You think they would have, for these platforms to survive, these streaming services to survive, they have to go international. Even Disney is struggling, and that's international. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They're not going to just survive being in America and Canada. They've got to release these in other
Well,
territories around the world.
what will normally happen, and I see this happening more and more, which is just really the death knell of the streaming wars, is that eventually, I mean, in places like the UK where we have Sky Television or
They're all going to
Virgin
be
Media,
absorbed into
it's
one
all going to
another.
be absorbed, and it's just going to be like how it used to be, So it's just
No
all this,
competition, nothing. No,
yeah.
exactly. They're all going to basically end up merging with each other because they can't survive on
And
their own.
what are you going to get at the end of it? Television. Like it's just going to be the same as old television, but
Except it's not streaming.
like where you could get it all in one place.
Yeah,
Now you can't because of all the stream wars, and then eventually the stream wars is going to end up back where we started.
yeah,
People having access to it all. Which
yeah.
is how it should be. I mean, people can't keep spending hand over fist money every month for a subscription to all these different services. It's just too much. You have
Yeah,
to
even the Premier League
break it
now is
down.
thinking of routing out Sky Sports and BT Sports so they could do their own streaming, so it cuts out all the middlemen and it's cheaper for fans. I mean, that's you got to be smart about these things, and these streaming platforms they're not. And then Netflix tried to charge double. Then if you let anybody use your account, they were trying to pull that one off and try extort more money out of people. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. Just listen, if you were actually making good content, you wouldn't have any issues, and you wouldn't even have to change the price. for his subscription, because if you are making top quality stuff, people would be in watching Netflix. Netflix would still be the number one. I don't know if it still is the number one, but it would still be the number one streaming platform. But it's absolutely ridiculous. But let's actually talk about Netflix again, because Vox criticizes Netflix for paying $40 million to Ricky Gervais, because according to them, he did a transphobic special, which was, I think it was, what was it, Human Nature or Super Nature or whatever it was called. So the media, again, calling out Ricky Gervais because they don't like the fact that a comedian can take the pee out of anybody. Listen, right? This is what's killing comedy, right? Trying to basically stop someone from being an artist. Ricky Gervais is so popular and is so good at what he does is because he doesn't care.
Well, let's be clear. He takes the piss
out of
everybody. And the thing is, with the trans bit that he does, is he's using their own words. Yeah. He's saying what has been said by them. So he's not making stuff up. He's not deliberately misrepresenting. He's presenting what has been said by trans activists.
Yeah.
If that's funny, it's funny. And you just have to suck it up like the rest of us, you know.
Yeah.
It's like when I watched Dave Chappelle. I watched his special. All that these people focus on was all the trans thing. Yeah. He laid into the Jews like nobody else.
He did.
And I was laughing my ass off. Why? Because it's funny. If we can't laugh at ourselves, what gives us the right to laugh at other people? We have to learn to relax.
He even took the piss out of your man that pretended he got beaten up as well. He was his comedy to me is the most diverse, to be honest with you, because he covers everything. Like, he even took the piss out of him as well, telling the story. Women, you know? But that trans story that he told at the end was I wasn't expecting that, man. And it was heartbreaking. I was blown away. And people were calling him transphobic.
And all these trans activists should be forced to bloody watch that, because it really underpins the problem that they have.
Yeah.
Which is their relentless, totally unforgiving, tyrannical approach to any form of criticism. If you can't criticize an idea, and that's all it is an idea. If you can't criticize it, it's not an idea worth having, because if you can't stand the criticism, if you can't be analyzed and torn apart and put back together again and it still works, then it's not good. You're not the good guys. This is what all tyrannies and authoritarian groups have ever done, is that they've always said, if you criticize us, we'll effing F you up. You know? Yeah. And that's not good. It's not healthy. And it doesn't promote you to the wider society. It doesn't help integrate you. It doesn't help make people like you. And there's, you know, you can't complain about not being liked when you're going around thumping people over the head, metaphorically or physically, demanding that people respect you and like you. You can't do that. You have to earn that. And you have to earn that by not being a dick. And also by not, you know, fiddling around with doing what they're doing to young kids. And I'm not saying that that's them. I'm talking about the culture, the ideology that surrounds all this. And you know, demanding your rights supersede other people's rights. Now, I see a lot of people using the gay rights. Oh, the gay rights are the same as the trans rights. No, we didn't demand to supersede other people's rights. We didn't demand that. Not only did we have access to women's spaces and, you know, drugging and sterilizing kids and all the rest, we didn't demand that. And we also didn't come into the world saying we demand to be called straight either. Which, hello, big difference, right? So I think they need to learn to relax. If people want to be accepted, then show people that you're not a threat. Show people that you're not absolutely ideologically possessed and crazed and attacking women and throwing soup over them and whatnot and calling them Yazis all the time. The more you do that, the more you drive people away. And we see a lot of all of this being a situation where if you can't laugh at it, then you have a serious problem in your culture, because if you're constantly restraining and constraining your comedians, who are the only real truth sayers in the world, then you are destroying art, you're destroying honesty, you're destroying the ability of freedom of speech, and all these things, which once they're gone, they are gone. And you might think that that's a good idea because it stops the people you don't like from talking, but what's to stop that from happening to you? So that's why people like Ricky Gervais and other comedians are so vitally important. They've always been important. They are always the ones holding a mirror up to our society. If you take down that mirror, if you break that mirror, if you stop people from holding that mirror up to you, then you become a demagogue in your own head, right? And then you start dictating to other people, and then there's a humorless world. It's not a world that anyone particularly wants to live in. It's dystopian. And you can dress it up in as many rainbows and unicorns as you like, and there's all these colorful flags as much as you like, but it doesn't change the fact that you're creating a society of gray mediocrity and conformity. And I'm all against conformity. I like individualism. I like difference. I like all of those things. But you can't force people to like it, and nor should you. People can choose to go along that life and enjoy themselves, and good on you. But you can't force other people to accept that by force. You have to win the arguments. If you can't win the arguments logically and clearly, you don't have much of a leg to stand on. So when it comes to things like comedy, I'm very protective. I think that, they are almost like the modern day philosophers of our time.
Well, it's being ruined.
It is being ruined. People are afraid to speak. Why should people be? Because they're evil bigots. No, they're not. Right? Bigotry is the inability to understand and accept a different point of view. That's the definition of bigotry. And who does that sound like? Does it sound like Ricky Gervais? Or does it sound like these trans activists?
I think the establishment, the media, and the people that give out about him just don't like him because,
Straight
he
white
embarrassed
male.
them. He embarrassed them when he did those award shows.
Oh,
because
yeah.
he called it and he said it as it is.
Which is what we all love, and everybody applauded that. Apart from
even some people were laughing at themselves, like at the jokes he was telling about them. I mean, if you can't laugh at yourself, if you haven't got a sense of humor, that's fine. But don't ruin it for the rest of us.
Is it fine? Is it fine though?
Out there should be censored. In fairness, there are a few areas where we could look where nobody should go. Fair enough. Some people will have where they draw the line. But me personally, I don't really think comedians should be restrained in any way. They shouldn't. The whole point of comedians is to, tell jokes and talk about those things that, people are actually talking about anyway. See, this is the funny thing, isn't it? When you go out with your mates and all that, you have these sort of conversations, and the comedians are telling their story, and then there's a punchline, But it happens. I just don't like the fact that comedians today, most of them have just rolled over, and now you see the sort of so-called comedy that they're putting out there. I mean, it's not even funny.
The more people who can't take who can't take jokes at their expense, the more you show that you can't take that joke, the more that they're going to make jokes out of you, because there is nothing funnier than taking the piss out of people who are really po-faced and cannot take a joke. That's what makes comedy funny. If you can't laugh at yourself and if you can't join in, people are going to think there's something a bit off with you, because they're going to be like, well, we can take the piss out of ourselves. Why are you any different?
Yeah.
You know,
No,
I
Ricky
think
actually responded. Ricky is not cancelled. So Warped Eyebrow too says, I haven't seen that in a while. Is Ricky Gervais cancelled? No, he actually responded, and he responded in a typical Ricky Gervais manner where he said, well, none of this will matter when we're all dead. So, I mean, you know, he takes it on the chin. They can't cancel Ricky Gervais. He's made so much money over these last couple of years. Are you joking? All of his shows are a hit on Netflix. He's probably single-handedly kept them going
he,
along with Dave Chappelle.
he makes a lot of money, but he also makes a lot of money from Netflix. You know, it's same with Chappelle. That's why
Yeah,
they're not cancelable. It's not even that. It's just the fact that I think some people just really get it. Okay, like there's some people who are execs who go, look, we're on board with the, you know, the rainbow flags. We're all on board with the equality stuff. We're all on board with, you know, representation and diversity, etc. But that also must include these champions of free speech, because if you can't just have everything one way. You've got to have a balance. You've got to have that, because your audience needs that. Because if you're just going to have all these things which are all just very superfluous and superficial representations, people are sniff that out. You need a sense of authenticity. People speaking their mind and not afraid to do so, and doing it in a funny way. But really, what you're giving is a bone to the vast majority of people who feel ever more constricted by entertainment that does not reflect them, that is ever more niche and specialized and for smaller and smaller and smaller groups who don't really appreciate it anyway, because no one ever bloody watches these things. But you can't alienate the entire general audience. They need something, right? They need something, and it's always a massive success. What does that tell you? It means people need a release valve. Comedy is a
yeah.
huge release valve. If you take that away, then
We
people
got
have
nothing.
no. They've got
Got
nothing.
nothing.
Exactly. They've got nothing to turn that valve off and let them just go, oh, thank God. Because you need someone, you need people, you know, people need to feel that their thoughts are not just in their head, that they've got some commonality, that this insanity that we're living in
That's
this real
what.
world is not, we're not alone. You know, you can't
That's exactly
isolate
what it is,
people.
mate. You're right. It's a release for us as well, because the comedians will say those things that we are thinking in our head,
Yeah.
or if we're not, or it's in the back of our head. Those comedians that tell those sort of jokes that are very clever, they make you think, and that's another part of it as well. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just about the jokes. Ricky is a very intelligent man. He can get a message across through the art of jokes, and it's brilliant. Like, I look, it happened because, as disaster area there said as well, money talks. A lot of these, as I said, a lot of these comedians just rolled over and accepted the money and literally censored themselves. That's essentially what they've done. They've censored themselves because they're afraid to, and they've been given money in some cases as well. And there is a lot of comedians out there, Lee, it must be said, that have seen other fellow comedians being cancelled and,
Mm.
you know, have probably changed the way they now tell jokes because of what's happened. I mean, cancel culture has been the biggest stain on society, hasn't it, Lee? It really has. It's
Well,
damaged so many
what do you
careers.
replace it with? What do you replace it with? Look at the woke comedians, right? They are just activists who end up going on political rants and getting very angry.
Mm,
It's not funny. That is not funny. It's just
no,
a bunch of people having, you know, on stage therapy sessions, and it's not. It's just awkward. It just doesn't feel right. It's not funny. That no jokes land because you can't make jokes because you're afraid to offend people. So you have to make it all about your identity and yourself, and therefore no one else can get offended. But I suppose people will be offended regardless, no matter what you do, because they always eat their own.
by the way, just before we continue, by the way, Lee, why didn't you tell me that you invited someone? Like, you know, you could have told me so they're not sitting in the studio for ages. Like,
Well, I
You
thought
could
you
have
sent
told me,
them
like,
anyway.
that he
I
was
thought
there.
you would have sent
I'm
them
at
a
the being
link.
on Twitter there getting ready for the next. Why didn't you tell me, man? He's been waiting in the poor bleeding studio for ages. By the way, we got an extra special guest with us, and he'll probably be joining us over the next couple of Fridays anyway, hopefully. And he's going to be doing a movie stream with me as well, hopefully this Tuesday. But it's Drawing Jack Rabbit, or Jack Main, as he calls himself here. Welcome. He might
He's
be
on
off.
mute.
Oh no,
there
he is. There he is.
I couldn't find the cursor.
It's okay. Obviously you've been listening to what we've been talking about, because Lee never bothered his arse to tell me that you were actually in the studio and that he'd invited you. But it's great to see you. Thanks, Lee, for that.
Should have sent them the link in the first bloody place. Then I wouldn't have this conversation.
We already said if the three of us are on, Jack comes in when Chris is not here.
He's not here.
He's good. Yeah, he will be here though.
But he's not here.
He's just late.
But he's not here.
Yeah, I don't mind Jack coming on, but you could have told me I sent the blade link to Jack. He's going to be popping on.
Well, he's here now.
Yeah, okay. Right. It's all done now. We're all friends again. Anyway, Jack, you've heard what we've been talking about. Would you like to give an opinion on actually now he's thrown me completely off, Lee has.
Good.
See that? This is what he does. Ricky Gervais, yeah.
That's
Ricky Gervais and this $40 million that he's made for Netflix that has the media in uproar because apparently he's transphobic.
I mean, my personal opinion of him is I always found him quite annoying, like someone who thinks he's funnier than he actually is. I think that's the whole point of his comedy. Like, he's doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
But when I saw him do that thing at the, is it the Golden Globes?
Yeah.
It's like that was just fantastic. And, it's like, honestly, that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And we need people like that, I might not agree with everything he says or does, but, I really have mad respect for him for what he did at the Golden Globes. And yeah, I think we need more people like that, really, because it's just so funny watching these people who aren't used to having the piss taken out of them, getting it and just being in complete shock. It's hilarious. But I think when you see the people reacting, you can tell who are down to earth and who aren't, because the more down to earth ones are laughing along with him, and the more, not so are just looking like they want to murder him. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I think Tom Hanks's reaction when he told the joke about Epstein's Island was very interesting. There's a lot, actually. If you rewatch that whole monologue that he does at the start, and you watch as Jack said, you do see the different reactions on the celebrity faces. Some are just like literally just lost it and are laughing. There's others, as I said, they're looking shocked. And then when he accused one of their mates of, obviously she did do it, and he brings it up, they're all like looking at him as if, how dare you bring that up? Sorry, but you are all dirty and muddy. And that's why he works. And that's why that is probably one of the greatest things that we've seen. Because we had a comedian that was willing to go there, not give a crap, and put you all in his place and tell you that he's adding the perfect human beings that just make yourselves out to be. It was glorious. I wish he'd do more, because it's the only reason why I'd actually watch an award ceremony is just for those few minutes. Seriously. I love him. I've always liked Ricky. I've liked everything he's done. People find The Office boring. I love The Office. I love Extras. Derek is an absolutely fantastic piece, but it breaks your heart, and it's all a range of emotions watching Derek. I think it's probably his best performance in that, and to be quite honest with you, Derek is. And of course, we've got Afterlife, which is absolutely fantastic. And he's done a few movies. He doesn't get the credit I think he deserves. And Jack is right. That whole thing that he thinks he's better than he really is an act. That's the genius of that man. He's just so on it. And then you go on to his profile, and him and his cat. I mean, he's just a nice man. I'm glad he's the success. That's one of the people that you're actually delighted to see do their thing and be successful, because he's also down to earth as well. He's a huge animal lover, animal rights and all of that, and I'm down for that as well. He's just brilliant. And then he apologizes then. Oh, if there's too much of this animal activism on my account, I do apologize, but it's something I'm really passionate about. But he's not going around slagging people off and saying, well, if you don't like what I'm putting on me, get your take away. Anyway.
Right in my ears.
Anyway, let's move on, because the reboot bug has hit again. And for the year, I don't know if this is it's a rumor for the first one. The other one is actually happening. But there's a rumored Peep Show starring Minnie Driver. So I don't know if it's going to be an American reboot or whether it's a reboot of in Britain. But again, I would ask, right, who here on the panel wants a Peep Show reboot? I used to watch that show. I actually thought that show was funny. I'm being honest. Maybe
I liked it.
I liked it. So I don't see the point in a reboot, Lee. Where are you on this? I mean, they're doing a Cheers reboot as well, and it just seems to be they brought in Stephen Merchant, didn't they? Now it seems to be the other way around. Well, they're bringing in an American if it's actually being produced in the UK. It's a rumor.
Well, we don't know, but I think again it's one of those things you can't replicate lightning in a bottle. Okay, this is very similar sort of situation I feel with Harry Potter. It's a bit of a gamble. Will it be funny? That's who's writing it. Is it going to be
the original writers?
Yeah. Is it going to be British? Is it going to be gender swapped now? Is that what we're being told? Not really down for that, quite honestly. I think it's had its time. It's had its day. Just go and watch the original series. It was pretty good.
Jack, you got an opinion on Peep Show?
I've never actually seen it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's fair enough. No, that's fair enough. Well, let's talk about a reboot that is apparently happening. Right. Well, there is the Gremlins reboot, which I didn't put in the scroll, but we'll come to that last, because I'm really annoyed about that. Seriously, I don't know what's going on. But is there any fans of the Squid Game in the chat? Because you aren't going to like the next part.
Oh, no.
So, our good friends in Hollywood who are creatively bankrupt have decided that Squid Game should get an American makeover. And it's happening, folks. Squid Game is going to get an American reboot. Now, I will say this, right? There is a movie called The Ring, which is the American version, and then there's the Japanese version. Is it Japanese? I think it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be honest, Japanese version obviously is better, but the American version wasn't too bad, and it came really close, and I thought it was a good movie, and it did spawn a bit of a franchise, and it wasn't a bad franchise. It'll never beat the original Japanese one, but it came close, have to be honest. Can this work? Another reboot of a very popular show, Squid Game. Now the wife has watched it and she absolutely adores it. And she watched the two dubbed versions because, apparently everybody wasn't watching the right one. She actually watched the correct one, and apparently it was better to understand, and some of the context was better because she watched the original subtitles that she was supposed to. But guys, I want to ask you, I haven't watched the show. I don't know if you guys on the panel have watched the original Squid Game. So if there's anybody in the chat, if you have watched the original, is down for this American reboot, let me know. So I'll start with you, Jack. Are you a Squid Game fan? Have you watched the show?
Yeah, I watched it with Lee, funnily enough, and it was really, really great. So I'm not looking forward to Hollywood doing it because I know it gets repetitive, but I think we all know what it will be like. They'll somehow make it all about men being horrible and put all kinds of stuff in there. I bet all the contestants will just be women, and the men will be the ones in the masks, and they'll probably be doing stuff to them in their prison cells at night, you know,
Oh, for
and just
God's
all
sake.
kinds of stuff. Or
Well-
either that, all the contestants will be black, and they'll be like white Texans in charge, running the whole thing, like rednecks and stuff.
You mean MAGA supporters? MAGA.
Pretty much. I mean, to be honest with you, Noel, there is already an American version of Squid Game, the Saw franchise.
Right,
That's true.
right. Well, I don't know. I'm not, as I said. But Lee, have you any opinion on this? Because I'm not going to make give an opinion on it, because until I watch it, there's not.
you have to
It
watch
wouldn't
it.
be fair for me to give an opinion. But obviously, you've watched it. Would you be down for an American remake, or do you just think this is a bad idea to start off with?
Hollywood, get in the bin. There you go. That's all I have to say.
Right. Well, I'm going to briefly touch on it. It's not on the scroll bar because I forgot all about it. But Gremlins, as you know, there's been talk of a Origins animation, and the trailer was released this week. And let's just say I'm not happy.
Wasn't there talk of Gremlins 3 and they're going to kill off Gizmo?
Gizmo. Yeah. But
I mean, why?
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, but this show, apparently the animation is going to go back. Well, by the looks of things, if you look at the trailer, it seems
It looks naff.
it's going to destroy the Origins. It looks absolutely ridiculous.
Looks cheap.
Right, I'm not messing. Right, Tom from Midnight's Edge is gone mad because he's a huge Gremlins fan. I mean, we actually, even when I told him I didn't think Gremlins 2 was as good, I didn't really like that one better than the 4. I didn't really like the second one, right? I'm not really a huge fan of the second one, but I do love the first one. But I still will watch the second one because it has some iconic moments in it, right? But he's devastated. Obviously, myself and Real Super Doctor spoke about this when we first heard about this, and he's a huge Gremlins fan. And he wasn't happy. Let's just say the reaction is very negative towards this. Why, though? Why do they have to keep going back to stuff that we grew up with as kids?
Because
why do we have to rebuild them or change the Origins or destroy them? Why, though? What did we ever do?
Two things. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Two things. One, because they're creatively bankrupt. And secondly, because they have to destroy all our childhoods because they are just that spiteful and mean-spirited. It's entirely vindictive. They are driven by this absolute desire to shit all over everything that we love. They hate Gen X. They hate Gen X with a passion. It's so evident by the fact that
but hang on, it's not their fault what happened here. But hang on. I don't care, right? You hate it, but you're taking out under. I'm sorry, folks, but it's not her fault what happened in the past. We've tried to actually do better because of the past, and I think we've done a pretty good job, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, but remember, there was nothing else before them, so they just lump us all in together and just think that we're all boomers, you know. So they don't understand that the boomers were the ones who oppressed us. And then the millennials came along and oppressed us in like a sandwich. It was an oppression sandwich. All we were about was about freedom, fighting against tyranny, being anti-establishment, all these things. And we fought for many things to liberate ourselves. Sorry, I
couldn't resist.
Yeah, but I'm going to be fair. Not all American remakes are bad, folks. Right? There was a time where Americans did remake stuff and it'd actually be decent. It's just Hollywood now is not capable, because look at the people that are in the industry. They're not really writers as such, are brilliant people. They're activists.
But this is the thing that annoys me about American remakes. Okay, back in the 2000s, whatever, you'd have remakes of classic shows, and they bring back these remakes, and they'd be excellent. Like I love the remake of V, for example. They brought that back, and it was really good. They brought it back for 2 series, and then they cancelled it. Now what they do is they bring back shows that they don't even like, and then make them really badly, and then they let them run for like 5. No, they let them run for like 5 or 6, 7 bloody series, even though no one's bloody watching them. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you are right, because you look at some of the shows that Netflix have cancelled after a season or two. Lots of
they're all really good.
Yeah, really good. And then
Discovery
right.
gets what, 5, 6 seasons or whatever it is. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is. It's absolutely ridiculous. Jack, did you give an opinion on this?
I mean, am I allowed to? I mean, you guys, speak for your generation. I'm the evil Gen Z.
No. Listen. Let's make it clear. Let's make it clear that we know that there are a few of you out there that
it's the millennials that are the problem.
That are highly intelligent and don't buy into this crap and know exactly what's going on. And you would be one of those.
There's a few. There's a select.
But there is, unfortunately, because the rest are being brainwashed, whereas you're not willing to be brainwashed. You've got a head on your shoulders.
No, it's the opposite. I was too dumb. The brainwashing didn't work.
Oh my God, Jack, stop putting yourself down. I'm sick of you doing that. Stop it.
Well, it's true.
It's not. Yeah. You don't put yourself down. Listen for a minute, mate. You're not dumb, right? I'm sick of this attitude from you now as well, right? I gave a few tickings off in me time. Don't have me to give you another one. You're a very, very talented person, and you're a nice person, right? Every time I've had you on, it's been a pleasure, right? Don't put yourself down. I hate that. I used to do that, right? Believe in yourself, because people around you believe in you. Well, we do anyway, right? We believe in you. So start believing in yourself more.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just say, though,
Go on.
There is a girl who works in my cafe. I think I told you. She's 14, and she can see through this crap. Mm-hmm. And I said to her, you give me hope for the younger generation.
Good. So we need more.
I'm just saying, I think the majority of us are actually intelligent. It's just we're afraid to say something. And, I do get a bit, not you guys, but I do get a bit sick of everyone just slagging my generation off. It's the millennials' fault. Let's leave it at that.
That's true. That is true. They screwed up.
In fairness, I always do make a point to say that it's not all, because you are right. It's not fair to look. They lump us all in the same category. We shouldn't be lumping your generation all in the same category either, because as you said yourself, there's people out there know what's going on. I think people are starting to wise up now, which is good, and hopefully we start to see things change, but it's gonna be slow. Let's just say that. But look, let's move on, because I'm sick of talking about reboots, because I don't want to get into the Gremlins thing, because I'll just get angry, and I don't want to get angry. We've been actually doing very well tonight. We haven't had any major rant, but I'm pretty sure near the end there'll definitely be a rant or two when I show you what Sam Smith has been up to lately. But let's get on to the next topic of conversation, because we're 54 minutes in. Hopefully, Chris joins us before we finish tonight. He is, obviously, his roster for work has changed, folks, as you remember. So he will be a little bit late. But let's get on, because Netflix again, strikes again. Netflix. It's always about Netflix, isn't it? But Netflix have cast the new Cleopatra for their new... I don't know if it's a documentary or a series, but would you like to see Netflix's Cleopatra? And I will let Lee take the lead on this one. I just don't know what to say anymore, to be quite honest with you. But for people out there that are saying, "Oh, what you complaining for?" Well, this is why we complain, and I'll show it now. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Well, is it really unbelievable? Because I mean, it's just predictable now. I mean, it's
okay,
just constant.
you're right. But look, I've got to show you this.
I haven't seen this yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing
Right,
it.
you're in for a little surprise. Oh, trust me, you're in for a surprise. All right. Yes, you are. I spelled Cleopatra wrong because I'm an idiot. Anyway, here it is. I don't know if you can say, the computer's glitching, isn't it?
No,
It's all right. I saw all I needed to see.
Right. So for everybody in the chat, so you're going to see a historical picture of Cleopatra. So this is what Cleopatra looked like. Okay. Or so they say. And this is Netflix's Cleopatra.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, when it comes to history, see, they do with everything now, right? Even history, right? This is not an accurate portrayal of Cleopatra, right? You talk about diversity and stuff and all that. Well, then why aren't you getting a person that looks like Cleopatra?
Why can't we cast an Egyptian actress? Wouldn't that be diverse?
Well, she wasn't Egyptian. Cleopatra wasn't. She was Macedonian Persian.
Yeah, and that wouldn't make her dark-skinned, by the way.
No.
She would have olive skin.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
I fell asleep in history a lot, except for World War One and Two.
I see. We were actually taught history. I don't know if they still actually teach proper history
I
anymore.
was as well. I was, the Tudors, medievals
Right.
and all that and everything. But it's
Well,
just
then
I
that's good.
fell asleep. I just loved war.
Right. Well, history, yeah. So look again. When you're trying to portray history, right? You mightn't like it the way it is, but it doesn't give you the right to try and.
Well, look, was it Channel 4 no, it's Channel 5, wasn't it? He did that series of
I was going to say the
Anne
Queen.
Boleyn.
Anne Boleyn, yeah, and made her black. It's just like you're just doing this deliberately now. Like we all see it for what it actually is. And that the funny thing is, right, with this casting, like very shortly after, there was a new casting announcement of the character from Lilo and Stitch. Right, they cast a Hawaiian girl who's got very light skin, and they lost their mind, saying, "Oh, she's too white. She's a white person. She's meant to be dark Hawaiian, and she is Hawaiian, right?" They
That's what I mean. So she's
pretty
Hawaiian.
It is racist, and this is the problem. It's like if you have a problem with that, but you don't have a problem with this, you're full of shit.
And
End of
also,
story.
if you're comparing a real life person to a cartoon, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot. Exactly.
They're not going to look exactly as they do on screen.
Exactly.
Right,
It's one rule for me, one rule for the
Lee,
selective outrage.
They didn't cast a creature that looked exactly like Stitch. How dare they?
Oh no. Yeah, it's complete nonsense.
Yeah, we should have the placards.
Wait a minute, Shrek
demand
isn't
justice.
The Shrek actor isn't green. Oh no.
We should demand rights for green people.
Yeah.
All I'll say is that they better make her older sister fit because that's how she was in the show. So.
And what happened to Gal Gadot playing Cleopatra? Remember that outcry when they cut that she was going to be put forward to play Queen.
Yeah, I think that's a different thing. I think this is just a Netflix. If I'm correct
but remember
saying,
the outrage over that she was too white, even though she's like from the Levant, which is very close to where Cleopatra would have been from. So it's a bunch of people moralizing from a point of ignorance. They are completely ignorant of historical fact. They have been led to believe by a bunch of liars in academia who use critical race theory to indoctrinate people into believing that bloody everything was black, or just everything's been whitewashed and all this nonsense. And
this is a documentary, by the way. So this is who they've cast for the documentary.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be classed as a documentary because this is fiction.
Well, hold
Exactly.
on.
You can't have fiction and call it a documentary. Sorry, Jack.
That's
Guys,
a good point,
can I
mate.
quote?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Can I quote the 12th Doctor?
Go for it.
History is a whitewash.
No, it isn't. It fucking isn't. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just not.
Listen,
wanna-
if you're going to
BBC
do a
have a lot to
documentary,
answer for.
if you're going to do a documentary on Cleopatra, the bottom line is this: you cast an
Accuracy.
actress, right? And listen, you talk about diversity. You then go out and find an actress that's from
Wherever Lee
country.
said he was from.
those origins.
Macedonia.
Macedonia.
I will
Exactly.
also say history tells us that Cleopatra was not a good-looking woman. So
No.
you just cast a black woman to play an ugly woman.
Wait, she
What
wasn't?
does that say?
I was just going to say go watch Carry On Cleo. My God.
That's a great movie. I mean, and let's remember that the
No,
late great
I watched
Elizabeth
it,
Hurley,
but she-
not Elizabeth Hurley, Elizabeth Taylor also played Cleopatra. I think she's the best
According to ancient Roman records, the description of her was that she was a very plain, heavy-set woman, but she had her wiles. She was a very feminine woman, and she was very. She had a very sexual demeanor
Exactly.
about her. So
She used her womanly ways to get where she was. Yeah.
That's
charms,
good,
not her
enough
looks.
for me.
Yeah. So she was
And that's the
thick
thing.
with three
Remember that in the
C's.
time. She had to do that in a male-dominated society, and she knew how to use her femininity to her benefit.
Let's not forget she killed her brother and she killed her sister to get where she was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as well.
Let's
True.
be, and she was a quisling because she got in bed literally with the Romans. So two of them.
She knew what she was doing. Yeah.
Julius and who was the other one again? Julius Caesar was the first
So in
one.
other words,
And then
she was
Antony the second.
So she was basically like the women in Hollywood. She had to sleep with loads of men to get where she was.
Well, she needed protection.
Well, we can't really
Yeah.
say that, Jack, but yeah, that would be the gist of it, really. You know, kind of like
Not all
casting
women in
couch
Hollywood,
style
obviously. I mean, the
sort
ones
of
who
stuff, but
choose.
we won't get into that before we get ourselves into trouble. But yeah, I mean, look,
Mark
again,
Antony, sorry.
you know, who's going to play Mark Antony? Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting casting. It's funny that we only see the casting for Cleopatra. But again, Lee is right. This is all being done deliberately now because they know, and I said this during the week as well, they know that there's going to be a reaction. And I think it is done deliberately. See, this is why I have said, and it's not going to happen, right? You could see that Netflix is doing that on purpose because they know that YouTubers out there and people on social media will be talking about it, right? Whereas if we ignored it, they say, oh, this is not working anymore. They're not reacting to it. Oh, what will we do? You know what I mean? We could confuse them, but YouTube is such a big community. We'd have to get everybody to agree, but nobody's going to do it as long as there's
anti-marketing. It's tried and failed time and time and time again. People will tune off. They will tune out because they're not interested in being served up things that they know to be a lie. And when you try and serve up something that, that you say it's caviar, but really it's just gravel, people are going to go, well, I'm not having that. Yeah. It's not complicated, but yet here we are. People think, oh, Egypt, that's in Africa. All Africans are black. That's not true. North Africans, if you look at Gaddafi, he was North African. Would you say he was black? No, of course not. He's not. Because he's much closer to the Levant, he's much closer to the Middle East, so they were lighter skinned. They didn't have African features. Mm-hmm. It's just mind blowing. Like, even if you look at ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, you'd see the Egyptians and you'd see the Nubians, because they'd have, the Nubians were African tribes who were another civilization who used to go to war with the Egyptians, and you'd see them on friezes on the walls in hieroglyphs, not hieroglyphs, but the paintings on the walls. The Nubians were very distinctly African looking, and the Egyptians were not. They were lighter skinned, had longer noses, and all of these very, very clearly, obviously Middle Eastern features. Hello,
Yeah.
Chris.
So we got Chris from Cultivate. Well, he's got Ballstrick on his thing now.
No, that's wrong, Noel.
Right, so it's Cultivated Media.
No, it's not.
It is Ballstrick.
Yes, it is.
Whoa!
Okay, we're back as Ballstrick again. Okay, so I'll get rid of
For
the
now.
Cultivated Media crap.
No.
Okay.
For now.
Okay, but I don't know if you've been listening in, but I don't know if you've seen the last thing that I put up. But Netflix
No.
is doing a documentary
About
on
bullshit?
on
Oh,
Cleopatra.
sorry,
No, Cleopatra.
Oh, what are they doing with this one?
Oh, would you like to see Cleopatra?
Well, I'm just gonna guess that it's gonna be
Okay.
some kind of current yearism, and nobody's gonna watch it, and Netflix is gonna go away.
There you go, Chris.
I can't
There's
see it.
your.
Well, of course it is. Why would it be anything else? Why do you expect me to be surprised? In any way, do you expect me to be surprised?
But hey, Lilo and Stitch, the actress playing her is too white, even though she's Hawaiian. So they're kicking off about that, but not this. What does that tell you? We're dealing with idiots. Ignorant
yeah,
idiots.
they're all idiots. Oh, and I just sent a winky face to my enemy. It was fun. I'm throwing fuel on a. I can't swear because I'll get Noel in trouble.
No, listen. I'm just gonna say this, right? I'll talk about it today. So you, Mr. You Know Who, has decided to restart his feud with.
Oh no! We're not mentioning names. I'm just here to fuck with people. Fuck
Right.
with people.
But anyway,
Fuck.
he's decided to start up again, do a hit piece because he's got nothing better to do. But let's talk about a topic that I do think that Ballstrick might actually have something nice to say.
I don't
So,
have anything nice to say.
Well, you will for this one.
I do have a nice video coming out next week where I'm actually talking positively.
Fantastic! Can't wait to see that one because your comeback video did very well. By the way, congratulations!
Thanks, man. I made all the right people mad. Oh, and is anybody clued into the new logo?
Loving
It's-
it.
So Noel, before you go, I'm going to tell the story behind my logo. I'm going to tell this to everyone as to how this ended up being my logo. So I was thinking when I came back to piss off the right people, I'm like, so I'm thinking, yeah, maybe finally change the logo. Maybe I'll change the thumbnails. So I was like designing new thumbnails. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, you know what? That yellow text makes a lot of people very, very mad, like very mad. And I'm thinking, no, I'm going to keep the yellow text. So I kept the yellow text. I'm like, you know what? To hell with this. The yellow text is now my official logo.
I noticed that. I was like,
So suck
I see
on
what
my
you do. Yellow
dong.
logo. Suck on your yellow logo.
Anyway,
Oh yeah. So sorry, Noel. Yeah, I got sidetracked.
you're grand. You're grand. It's nice to have you on. Let's not derail this because we're doing well so far. But I do think you'll have some positive things to say about the next topic that we're going to talk about. So the casting director for James Bond franchise has come out and said that they've ruled out a younger actor because they believe a younger actor wouldn't have the gravitas, and then went on to say they wouldn't have the mental strength and stuff like that.
Well, yeah.
So, what's your thoughts on the casting director ruling out a younger James Bond, which people now have started to speculate that this means that Henry could have a great chance now of landing the James Bond role. What do you think about that, Chris?
Well, I've got a new metric now because Cultivated Media, he's taken the week off. I'm two different people, Noel. So right now you're talking to Bullstruck. Cultivated Media will be back next week. So from the world of Bullstruck, I've got three sort of criteria for how I judge older franchises going forward. So number one, is it woke? If it is, are you on YouTube, Noel?
Yes.
Okay. If it is, you can suck my insert blank. That's so Noel doesn't get in trouble. So criteria number 1 is, are you woke? Number 2, how was the writing? If it's bad, you can suck my insert blank. See, I'm being good. Number 3, does it respect the fans? No, this is actually serious. This is now how I judge things.
Yep.
Number 3, does it respect the fans? So, to go back to what Noel was saying, as this week on Bull's Trek, and not the much nicer cultivated media, Chris, I don't know who that guy is. Goddamn stick figure. What the hell's with that lazy ass bastard? But anyways, so this is how I'm judging. So I'm gonna apply this criteria to James Bond. Okay, so are you woke? After the last movie, you haven't proved to me that you're not. Is the writing better? The last movie was dog shite. It was not good, and I don't want to spoil the ending in case you haven't seen it, but the ending was stupid, but we could see why it was. And 3, do you respect your audience? Well, you got Phoebe Waller-Bridge in the previous movie, so I would say no. Now, if it can meet all those 3 criteria, then maybe. Henry Cavill, yeah, I'd accept him. I think that would be respecting your audience. He's not woke, so I'm assuming he wouldn't go with the woke stuff. Will be better written. So if it is Henry Cavill and it meets those 3 criteria, then I'm cool. If it isn't, yeah. So that's how I'm judging this.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't want a younger actor. Let's say it meets the criteria. I don't want a younger actor because, frankly, I just don't. Most people don't. Do I want an older actor? Yes. How old is Cavill? He's like 40. Is he? I think he's 40.
Henry Cavill is, hold on, I'll put his name up on, this is the best thing about, the internet. The only good thing about the internet is that you can actually search live.
What age is considered too young to play Bond?
Yeah.
Says Disaster Area. Well,
he's 39 years of age, so I think he's the right age for Bond.
I would say my minimum would be 36 because that's the age Daniel Craig was when he was cast. Ideally 40, so he would, if he's cast, he'd be 40 when he'd be filming. So, if they can fix it, and the good thing about James Bond is they now have to do a complete reboot after that disaster of an ending. So at least there's that. So my answer is a non-answer, Noel. My answer is we'll see.
Jack.
Oh, do you still want me here?
Duh.
Of course I do.
Did I miss
It's
something?
like, you guys are like the 3 Musketeers or the 3 Wise Men. There's got to be
Then you're
3.
D'Artagnan. No,
Jack. I'm basically just a guest these days because my things are nutty. No, man. You need to be here.
I mean, okay. Brace yourselves. Gen X is having an opinion here. I kind of think like minimum, like you say, like I'd like an older James Bond because I don't want him to be young and trendy. I want James Bond to be James Bond. I want him to be masculine. I personally actually really like Daniel Craig. I think he did a great job. I know a lot of people don't like him. And a bit of a guilty confession, I have yet to go back and see the old Bond films. The only ones I've seen so far is GoldenEye.
GoldenEye is good. That's Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan's first.
And I have seen some of Sean Connery, who I love. I love Sean Connery. I've loved him in everything I've seen him in. Indiana Jones. This great film I can't remember the name of, where it's him and someone. It's a demon film or something like Angels or Demons, and he's in it. I can't remember the name, but I really liked him in that.
Angels and Demons, the what's his face trilogy. Was he in that?
No, he wasn't in that. I think he's talking about a different movie.
Yeah, no.
Tom Hanks was in the Dan Brown trilogy.
Yeah, that's the name I was looking for.
Was he a magician or something? I'm sorry, I can't remember the name.
Oh, probably at some point.
But yeah, I really liked him. I'd have always liked to have seen him in Doctor Who, to be honest, but it's probably a bit below him. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't want I don't want anything changed about James Bond, to be honest. I kind of like him as he is. I do think he should be older, but good looking, obviously, and maybe.
Jack, would you set it in this time period, or would you set it back in
I
the
would
60s
love.
or the 70s?
I would love to have a James Bond film set during the Cold War.
Yeah, a journalist actually did an article on that and suggested that that would be the best way to go with the franchise. Would you agree with that?
I'd agree, yes, very much how Indiana Jones is set post World War II. I'd love James Bond to kind of be like 60s to 80s, because I think that's the time period that you're most likely to have agents.
I just want to say I said that first before
You
anyone
did.
else.
You actually did on this channel. You did ages ago, so you do get credit for that because you were the one that said that that's the way they should go.
Yep. I think a Cold War James Bond with like futuristic 60s tech would be phenomenal and great fun. And you could have that sort of camp element to it without being over the top like some of the latter Roger Moore films. But you could have that sort of cool throwback. I think that would be glorious. I think that would give your authentic James Bond spy thriller. Plus, it will bring James Bond back to what it actually is, rather than trying to keep up with Mission Impossible and all these other things, which are really kind of outpacing it now. So I think if you take it back to its roots, you've got something that's completely unique, and it's proper James Bond again.
That's the word, though. Unique. Yeah. And I think James Bond needs to stand out now, because with the Daniel Craig movies, I'm with Jack. I did like the Daniel Craig movies. I do have issues with Quantum of Solace and other movies in the franchise, but overall, I did like Daniel Craig as Bond, and I've been watching since Sean Connery. So
I do want to know, actually, Bolstrek, what do you think of Casino Royale and Skyfall?
Casino Royale is a masterpiece.
It is.
Same thing with GoldenEye and Goldfinger and some of the earlier ones. Skyfall I haven't seen in years. I remember
Skyfall is the ultimate Bond.
It's brilliant.
To me, I think that is the definitive Bond movie.
I remember liking it, but no, I like Casino Royale because they were doing something completely different.
Yeah, Casino Royale is a deadly movie. It's very stylish as well, but I do love it because Bond is vulnerable in that movie. But the problem is that what I felt for this franchise, which let it down, is that he seemed to be vulnerable all the time. And he's not vulnerable all the time. He does have his vulnerable moments, but I think they just over-egged the pudding on that, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I like him as a Bond. I would like to see it, though, like Lee said.
I like that they give him a personality and a reason for him being like he is. But yeah, I did think they went too far. They didn't have to emasculate him completely.
Exactly.
They
but
always
that
have
was
to go
Craig's
too far.
influence, though. Yeah, Jack, because he started bringing in writers, and he's the one that was responsible for bringing Phoebe Waller-Bridge into the picture.
Yeah, he went full on woke, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him, to be quite honest with you, man, but he did near the end.
It was the whole Me Too thing, wasn't it? He didn't want to, he wanted to kind of be on the right side of history. So he did all the, pulled out all the stops, turning up in the dress and all that kind of stuff.
How many more actors that I love am I going to lose respect for?
The idea is just only like actors that are dead, or just never look at anything they say.
Nah, there's still some out there with integrity. There's a lot of them that have children.
Nicolas Cage. Yes, Nicolas Cage. Tom Cruise.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
David Tennant?
No. Unfortunately, Jack, he supported a lot of this, and no, unfortunately, David Tennant does play it a little better than some of them, but
But
no,
he's a true fan. I mean, look what he said when he said, if you could have a character, who would you choose? He said, the Brigadier, and he also said William Hartnell, the first Doctor. Like, he really rubbed it in.
Yeah, he's unfortunately with David Tennant, he's been like it or not, he was supportive of some of the things that have happened the past years,
clearly,
and that's a deal breaker.
He's clearly got. I think one of his sons is probably non-binary or something like that. So he's been wearing that bloody non-binary flag pin or something.
Yeah, no, and he's involved in the current era, and it's just it's a travesty, and it's an insult to fans, and anybody that has any relation to this whatsoever, includes actually the classic series, starting with Peter Davison on up, because they were involved in what's going on now too. No, it's you were involved with this. It's
how did we get into Dr. Hill?
But I will say in his defense, though, he is at least a lot less vocal about it. He doesn't really.
No, yeah, for me,
run his mouth.
No,
Yeah.
for me, you support it. You're done.
Yeah, I get that, and I do believe that. But I think as well, if we allow us to be subsumed by the culture of personality, the cult of personality, even, that we won't be able to watch absolutely anything at this point.
I know. I mean, isn't that quite a dangerous?
Well, you have to separate the art from the artist, don't you? I mean,
I know, but isn't that quite a dangerous view to have? Like, your
Oh,
entire.
I'm not saying other people should have that view. Really, I'm saying that's my view. I'm just and Noel will go off this in a second, but Doctor Who is I look at that separately from everything else, because it was something that I was very personally involved in for 5 years. Jack, this is, and I can't really put this on other franchises, but Jack, I hate that show. Everything after 1989, I hate that show. I hate everybody that was involved with it. I want nothing to do with them. It became something that is just completely perverted, something that is hateful, something that hated anybody that supported it, that didn't adopt their little philosophy. I did watch some of David Tennant's stuff before really RTD's first iteration, before I stepped off with it. It hasn't aged well at all. I'm not saying that for everything, and I'm saying this is my own opinion, but Doctor Who disgusts me beyond. I'm just revolted by it. At least what they call New Who. I think it's absolutely disgusting. What it came to represent, and it happened before 2018. Frankly, I want to see that franchise burn to the ground. So Doctor Who is, in isolation, something very different for me, just because I've seen what it became. I've seen the people that they supported. I've seen the things it represents. I've seen the hateful, borderline criminal things it's pushed, and I want nothing to do with it. That's really my happy thought for the day. Oh no, it's all good, Jack. It's it is a touchy subject, and my videos regarding that going forward, and it was my utter contempt for that show, which is now beyond what it was before, which is what brought me back to YouTube. But yeah, no, anybody that was involved with this, and I think for younger people it's hard to understand, but those of us who are older supported this show for decades. We gave them thousands of dollars. At one point, I had one of the biggest Doctor Who channels on YouTube, and I'm talking like over a decade ago. But because I wasn't part of the cool club,
I saw your older videos when I subscribed. That's how I got into you.
Well, this is the thing, Jack, which is more so with Doctor Who than other franchises, which also thoroughly disgusts me. It is an elitist club of the, quote, cool upper class people. You don't see that with any of the other franchises. You don't see that with Star Trek. You don't see that with Star Wars. You don't see it with anything else but Doctor Who, where it's basically now just a wank fest.
I don't know if I'm right, Chris, but it seems to me like it's Russell and his Fitzroy Tavern kind of took over the franchise in the wilderness years. And
No,
then-
Russell is that's where you're going with it, Jack. And sorry, Noel, I didn't start this, but
Yeah, we don't talk.
No, but
we
whenever
don't
this
talk.
comes
We
up-
don't really talk Doctor Who tonight. But go on.
I'm
I'll
sorry.
allow
give
it
my
tonight.
thought because whenever it comes up, I will give my thoughts. No, it is, and RTD was at the head of this. It's an elitist club of elitist asshats, and we've seen it on Twitter. Between their chosen fans, the ones that they deem worthy, and all these other pompous jackasses that are involved with the show. But yeah, whenever it comes to Doctor Who, I'm not, for like the last year and a half, I was saying I'm not going to talk about it. No, whenever somebody brings that up, I'm going to give you my thoughts, because I have nothing but contempt for this franchise, and now I'm going to stop. Sorry, Noel.
No,
It's all
I'm
good.
sorry. I've started this. I've instigated.
Oh no,
this.
that's okay, Jack. That's what I do.
I will just say, I like Taron Egerton as an actor, and I think he doesn't seem to be particularly on the woke front of things. So there's hope.
I would like to see him as a future Doctor.
The
I
thing
don't
is,
even
though,
know
Chris,
who. I don't even know who that is.
the thing is that
He's the Kingsman actor. The fella. If
Oh,
you
that
watch the
guy.
Kingsman, yeah, the young fella, Iggy,
no,
Iggy,
no,
wherever
he-
his name was.
James Bond, maybe when he's
Egerton.
older, but no, he's too good for
He
that.
would be
that trash
James Bond
franchise.
as well, but I'd love to see him in Doctor
He
Who.
said he didn't want to play James Bond because he thought he wasn't right for the role and that he should go
Well, no,
to someone
he's
older.
too young.
So,
He's
yeah, he
he's
said
too
it
young,
should go
that's-
to
But he's right.
Yeah.
He's ruled himself out, and I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing. That shows he has integrity, and he's not just going to take
Yep.
a role for the sake of it.
Exactly.
Just like what's his name, that ruled himself out as well.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, like he showed integrity, like straight away. Like no, because I know what this will become, and I think I'm too old to play the role. So I mean, there's some actors and actresses out there that actually have some common sense and don't just take roles for the sake of it. And Nick Cage is one of them. He chooses these roles. Obviously, he's done a lot of what I would call B movies, but even they're great. By the way, I want to ask you before we do move on to the next topic, Ballstrek, because it'd be interesting to see how you answer this one. But did you watch the Nick Cage movie? I told you, the Western. Yeah.
Oh, and sorry, I'm Bulls Trek this week, but my streaming identity is going to be Cultivated Media. I'm just pissing people off right now.
Right, but answer the question.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Right, well,
It's
go and watch it.
It's on my list of things to pick up.
Right. Don't now. Good. Okay. Right. I wish Jodie had a real. I think we all. She had no, but I said this. Lee would back me up. She took that role. She had no integrity. She used Doctor Who as a stepping stone, or what she thought was going to be a stepping stone. Now, fair play to her. She's landed on her feet now. She's going to be in a new show with a woman who actually played the Anne Boleyn in the Channel 5 production. They've joined this highly successful show. I wonder if it'll be successful after they're done with it, but we'll see.
I'm just not going to say anything for now. I've said my piece, so just copy and paste to this, and let's go on.
Right, well, let's get on to the next one, because the next topic of conversation is controversial indeed. So Sam Smith has been in the news.
No. We're not.
I'm sorry, I have to, because it is part of pop culture. He is a singer, and I do cover all angles, and I have to, because
Look,
everybody has to see this.
If you don't want to listen to it, Chris, just go la 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 la.
So
la,
what
la.
I'll do is,
I'm gonna
right,
blast
I'm
some
about
death
to
metal.
share this, right? I'm just going to show a couple of videos, and then we're going to get everybody's comments. I'm not going to put on the sound, but you will clearly see what's going on, what I'm about to show you. And I have to be honest, there was kids, by the way, at this, and there's even some footage of a mother saying that their daughter copies all the moves that he does. And you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. Well, I'm going to.
Well, that's normal.
I'm going to show you this normal behavior at a concert that has kids at it, right? This is what's being deemed normal behavior today, right?
God, it's so boring.
What the hell is that? Sorry.
So there's more video footage, which I don't know if you want to see, to be quite honest. But in another
That'll be a
video,
no.
he actually has some male dancers then do all kinds of stuff at him and to him, and he simulates a lot of. Well, you're seeing it there. There was kids at this concert, and this is what's deemed appropriate for our kids today. In no sane world is that appropriate for kids to see. I don't know what's happened to Sam Smith. When Sam Smith burst on the scene the first time, you seen the difference in him, right? He looked healthy, he looked great, but you could tell, because he was doing interviews, that this guy clearly had low self-esteem issues and had other stuff going on. I think what's happened is, personally speaking, I don't think this is all him. I think he's being pushed in this direction, but because he's got the issues that he has, he just can't see that he's being used. And I think that's the sad thing about this whole situation. But what he's doing on stage in front of kids that are going to his concerts, that is absolutely disgusting. Now, I know Madonna did it in the 80s. She was quite controversial, especially the 90s. She was quite controversial, but rightly so, she was called out. But Sam Smith is being praised for this.
Naturally.
This is stunning and brave.
It's the new elitism. Get in line or buckle up, bigot. It's just so.
Go ahead, Lee. You give your opinion on this.
Yeah,
I know you have a lot to say.
I mean, really. I mean, there was a video of him after the show, and some proud parent had posted a video of like her, I don't know, 8-year-old daughter or whatever it was, who got to meet him after the show and was copying.
That's the video I'm talking about. And she says that,
yeah, all his
she
dance
does all your
moves.
moves.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, well, you can imagine what those moves are. I mean, it's just not really appropriate.
It's not age appropriate. It's not.
I mean, you wouldn't take your kid to a strip bar, would you? I mean, how is
No.
that any different? It's not appropriate. But it's not unusual. I mean, if you look at people like Cardi B who criticize it, I mean, she's done pretty much the same thing. Actually,
Hasn't she become Christian and turned her life around and found Jesus or something? I think she's.
I don't know.
Is it her? I think she's got all her tattoos and all removed.
Well, you know, I mean, look, I mean, pop stars have been over sexualized for a number of years.
Yes,
I mean, if
I
you look
agree.
at Britney Spears,
Christina
even
Aguilera.
before that, yeah, I mean, it's been like that for a very long time.
But don't slag her queen off.
Madonna, even before then, you know, so it's nothing new.
No.
But when you get a big porker of a bloody they them on stage, the fish of them with his, you know, horned head and, you know, all this playing right into
It's sad. No, I do find it sad, man. I get what you're saying, but
it's
clearly
sad, but
something going on with him.
at the same time, it's become so predictable. It's not even remotely controversial in my mind, in the sense that it's nothing we haven't seen a million times before. It's just he looks so bloody desperate doing it. And again, you know, fine if he wants to do that, and fine if people want to pay to see that. But when really his audience
is a younger audience.
yeah, but if the parents are bringing their kids to that show, you have to question them.
Pardons.
You know, fine, he wants to do that. I mean, if he wants to look ridiculous and go.
But shouldn't he not have a responsibility to say that the show is going to be X-rated and should be over 18s, those type of shows?
Well, that's really down to the
entertainment. Like,
that's down to, you know, his team, his promotional team, and all the rest of it. But again, they want to normal. It's no secret that they want to normalize this in front of kids. I mean, we look at Story Hour with drag queens and, you know, pole dancing in front of them and all sorts of things. So, I mean, it's not unusual, but it should never become usual. That's the difference. You keep allowing this to go on unchallenged. It just perpetuates, and they're trying to push how far they can get away with doing these things because they've got nothing else. Because everything else has already been done a million times. So they do the same thing, but this time they try and push the envelope now. Oh, what
push it further every time.
Controversial. I know,
yeah.
Let's do this in front of kids. Yeah, that will get them upset. That will upset the right-wingers. It's pathetic.
It's not even about upsetting right. It's about
no. That's how they see it.
Having a moral compass, and
yeah, but having those things is considered to be, you know, far right nowadays. That's how they frame any form of criticism to what they're doing. If you don't like all the hypersexualized, degenerate kind of behavior in public, then you are deemed far right or a conservative. I mean, you don't even look. I'm not a conservative person, right? I've been to many a gay club in my time over the years. I have been to all sorts of things and places and whatnot, and you know, I'm not Mr. Innocent, never pretended to be. But the thing is, you don't do that in public. You don't do that in front of kids. You don't do that.
No, it's kind of like behind closed doors sort of thing. And I know that's a
it's got its audience, but it's got its audience. It's got its place. This isn't really the place. But hey, look, he's got what he wanted. He's got us talking about it. He's got people, you know, getting him trending. That's all these people seem to care about. I just think that he needs someone to help him.
He needs help. He needs someone to actually care for him. Someone that actually really does give a crap about him and gets him out of that
When
situation.
you have more money than sense, you don't have the right people around you to say no. And he's being taken advantage of, and he's allowing himself to do that, and he looks ridiculous. And he doesn't realize, maybe he's laying into it that he looks ridiculous, but he doesn't care. I think he would care if he was thinking right, but he's not.
Yeah,
I don't think
I agree with you, because he could before all of this, he came across as a nice guy, man. He really did. He didn't have an attitude about him. He had real talent.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Destroys people. We've seen kids go to university, going in looking all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they come out completely whacked out and angry and confused and, you know, shaved head, and I think they're being rebellious. It's like, no, not really. I think to be rebellious in the 21st century, you should put on a tie and suit at this point.
Yeah. Before we get on to the two guys on the panel and get their opinion, here's a little bit of trivia for you guys in the chat. I already know who sings this song, and I know for a fact that Ballstreck will know who sings this song, and I'm pretty sure Lee. I don't know about Jack. He may do. I won't assume that he doesn't. But who wrote the song with the lyrics, "If you tolerate this, then your children will be next"?
I'm thinking, and I know it.
You do know it. Would you like me to sing a little bit of it for you?
Yeah, do that.
No, please don't sing it. Oh, God.
If you tolerate this, then your children will be next.
Oh, are you talking about Manic Street Preachers?
Yeah.
I was never really a fan of them, to be honest.
Yeah, but I do love that song. That's a cracking tune. I have to be honest.
I only liked Design for Life. That was the only song of theirs I liked.
Fantastic. Well, Chris, would you like to give your opinion on the poor train wreck that is Sam Smith?
Well, here's the so again, Noel, and I agree with what Lee said. This is an elitist thing. The working class don't support this shit. Regular people that just go to work every day, try and pay their bills, they don't support this crap. This is upper class garbage. And I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Sam, no, I don't buy that crap at all." This is somebody whose album sales were apparently sliding. And how do you grift your way in these days? Because we see it over. Oh, well, I'm suddenly this, words that I'm not allowed to say anymore. I'm like, no, it's a grift. It's disgusting. It's degenerate. It has no place around kids. At one point, this would be thrown in jail, but this is like my view is bring on the goddamn asteroid.
I think there's one on the way.
Oh, good. Really good. No, but this is, and I hear a lot of this where, oh no, this person. No, it's elitism. This crap is the new elitism. And we've seen it. I won't mention their names, but YouTubers.
You say new elitism, it's the same as the old elitism, old Jackson.
Oh, it is. But I think it's more or less, what are the... He's what was I saying? Oh yeah, I get. Oh sorry, Jack. He's hi.
Yeah,
Jack
had to leave. Jack had to leave us, so I want to.
I was hoping I didn't scare him away.
No.
But what I was.
It's all good. It's all good. Trust me.
But what I was saying was this whole thing, and we can't even say the words anymore. This is the new elitism. These are the people that think they're better than you. If you are going to work every day and trying to pay your bills and not end up on the street, you don't have to worry. What you identify as is going to be the last thing on your mind. You have to be part of the upper class to be part of this. You have to be able to afford to do this. But there is grifting involved because of the way things work. My career's going nowhere, or nobody wants to watch my YouTube channel because I look like an insect. It's, the easy way of getting ahead right now is I'm going to identify with this. Suddenly the adoration comes your way. Suddenly the YouTube algorithm goes your way. It's all a grift. Don't buy this, oh, poor Sam is mentally ill. No, he's not. He knows exactly what he's doing. All these people know exactly what they're doing. They've been given control of society. And it's different than, well, actually, no, in some ways it isn't that different, because if you look at history, dark things have happened. You can't criticize them anymore. They've been given control of society.
It's like giving Madame Bovary, plaudits for being stunning and brave, and being a true independent woman, when really she's just a crazy woman who covers herself in maid's blood. Really.
And also, Lee, and Lee will know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna mention the names, other than saying if you look at a country called Germany, specifically in the 1930s. But I'm not going to say the name because we're not allowed to say that anymore.
You mean the bad Germans? You could say bad Germans.
Well, I'll say bad Germans, but I'm specifically talking about Germany in the 1930s compared to what I'm seeing now. So at the end of the First World War, Germany was devastated. Inflation was unlike anything the world had ever seen. It would cost you $100 to buy, I don't know, a loaf of bread. They were about as low as you can get. Then you bring in a little man with a mustache who's very shouty. So he came in. I'm like, you know what? All your problems, they are the result, or they're caused by this group of people. So what happens? The anger gets directed to this group of people. And then we have things like Kristallnacht would be one of the most extreme examples early on before things really went to hell. Everything was blamed on this group. And we all know, based on history, what happened to this group. And it was actual bigotry. You look at what's happening now, and that group, it's white, and it's not the elitist white. It's not the top 1 to 5% of white people. It's regular people, the working class, those that don't have any power are the ones that are being blamed for everything, even though, and also we can't say this, but if we look back to 2020 and other things, there were the problems were actually caused by the elites across the board. You can break it down. So that's what's happening now. Those of us that aren't in the hierarchies of society, those that are just regular people, and I think I can count, all three of us, and I think most of us watching, we are now, what's being done to us is very similar to what happened to that certain group shortly after the rather botched election of a certain party that took over that country in the 1930s. And you can see where that ended. That's where it's going now. And the elites that control society, they are using this to bring down the rest of us. And anybody with half a brain can see that this is the upper echelon of society. It's the dilettantes. How have I depressed everyone?
well, we're going to change the topic
It's
now
very
anyway.
spot on.
So, like, yeah. So,
Very spot on.
spoiler alert.
I'll be right back.
Because the next topic is Star Trek Picard.
This I'm going to have fun things to say about. So just give me a sec, Noel. You guys start, and then I will be back momentarily.
Fantastic. And I'm after being actually sent a link by Bobby D75. So me and Lee will just briefly talk about this while Chris is doing what he has to do. So Jinx Monsoon has dropped the Lavender song to fight the anti-drag bills. So Lavender song. So our new the person that's going to be in Doctor Who has wrote an original song called no, she didn't write it. Someone else.
No, it's a cover version of an old.
Is it?
Wartime
Was written during the queer Renaissance period in the 1920s, right before the bad Germany rose.
It's a cabaret song.
1930. This is what the article is saying. I'm just reading the article.
Yeah, it's a cabaret song, basically. Yeah.
So so that's what's going on. So they've they've sang this song, Lavender song, to fight the anti.
Well, why didn't they write a song of their own? Which requires actual talent. Look, I know this person can sing. That's fine. I get that. A lot of people can sing. I'm just thinking, really, why didn't you write a song condemning sexualized dancing performance in front of kids? I don't know. Maybe that would go a long way to helping people's views
if Jinx
on
actually
drag.
did come out and drew, if there was a line drawn, I still don't think it's appropriate personally, right? But they're not going to go away. They're like every other group out there that thinks they're oppressed. So
I would love to be as oppressed
I just
as them.
don't agree with all this personally, but
No.
I mean, where's the balance? I mean, if you think it's okay for drag queens to gyrate in front of kids, which we've seen video of it, right? It's out there in the public domain. We've seen it, right? So there's no denying that is happening. So if you were to come out and criticize something like that, you would earn some brownie points with everybody in the fandom. But no, you're doubling down with a song to show support for bills, which in some people's opinions, whether you like it or not, harm children. So we'll leave it at that because I do want to actually end the stream on a positive note. We do have Chris back from Cultivated Media.
Yes, this is so this is so when you see the yellow text, I'm going to be mean and nasty. When you bring up certain things like what Noel brought up, I'm going to be mean and nasty.
Well,
when
you
you
know,
talk
I'm
about
going to
things
have to
that I
find
like.
a lot of positive bleeding
Oh
stuff
no!
for next
Well,
week.
no, literally, but no, but then I've got a split personality now, Noel. I've got Bulls Trek, the now yellow Bulls Trek, which is just there to yell at people because he's very angry. But then I'm also still Chris from Cultivated Media. So when I go back to my CMI, my happy dude, I'm back to being Cultivated Media because now Noel, we're not going to bring up that show for the rest of the stream, right?
Right. Well, no.
You know that's
because
coming with a rant.
No, this is what we're going to end on. We're going to end on a positive, and that is season 3 of Star Trek Picard. Now I've caught up. The last episode, Chris, I have to ask first because I don't actually want to get into this unless you've actually watched the last.
No. This is why I had to put the stick figure back on because I cannot be Bulls Trek when I'm this excited. No,
right.
Are we doing? Well, I'm not going to do spoilers yet, but
we'll do spoilers.
Okay.
I've told everybody that there is spoilers.
I gotta geek out. Oh lordy, do I?
I know.
I suddenly become like manic depressive on stream. Jesus. No. The end of that episode. Oh,
wow.
I was up. I had my hands going. I'm like, no. I kind of knew this is where they were going to go. But I'm like, oh my god!
Didn't she look beautiful? Didn't she look beautiful?
Oh,
didn't she look beautiful?
And Noel, geeking out. Patrick Stewart, you notice that he actually seems younger now?
Yeah.
No, honestly, when he did really well with Jonathan Frakes, but as soon as he's back with like all of the original crew, it's like, my God, it's like his voice is back. It sounds like Patrick Stewart again.
The best bit was like when he said, like, with all you guys here together, and and then he was just like, the carpet.
yeah, I know. Yeah, the one thing I loved was the carpet. I was like, is that what you're gonna point out about the whole shit?
But here's the thing: Noel's a former contributor to the Nitpicker's Guide to Star Trek on the online thing. So if you look at the sides, when Riker crashed it into the planet, they had like stations there, which I hated, but they took them away. But you need to acknowledge that. Why did you go back to your little panels? Because remember in Generations, they where they had the little panels on each side of the bridge, they replaced them with stations, but now the panels are back. Just cover that. But no, I was now I have one criticism. Why did you kill off Captain Grumpy? That could have been Dr. House in space. Bring him back.
No, but hang on. I've seen some logic in that, right? See, it's still possibility that he could get his own show because it could be a prequel with him and Jerry Ryan.
I don't know if that would work. I want to go forward. I don't want to go backwards.
I kind of agree with you, but that was shocking. I have to be honest. And then when he called her 7 and not a 9, I was just, oh my God, this episode is killing me.
Here's the thing, Noel, and it's between some people are watching this week after week, and some are watching it at the end. So, without going, I'd have to put on my my yellow to go into this in detail, Yellow Bulls Trek, but we're not going to discuss Starfleet Academy because that's dog shit. But Dave Cullen in his review, which I watched last night, said there is some kind of mid-credit sequence at the end of next week's episode, which I'm wondering, and I'll be very disappointed if I'm wrong. Yes, this does. Chris has degenerated. Well, regenerated. No, Chris has a split personality right now. It's very confusing. Look at my 2 Twitter accounts. I'm a mess. But no, it's apparently near the end of next week's episode. There's going to be a mid-credit sequence. So that's why I think there is an announcement coming, and I think they're holding off until the next episode has finished. And I think that's what this mid-credit sequence Dave was alluding to is, because what we've had the last 9 episodes, like Star Trek has not been like this since Deep Space Nine. I know some people don't like it. That's perfect. As long as you don't like it for the right reasons, not grifting, then, it's perfectly fine. You're allowed to not like it. Just, don't grift. But this is what I want. After like 6 years of watching everything just get worse and worse, it would suck if we were all teased with like 9, probably 10 great episodes of Star Trek. like the best storytelling we've had in more than 2 decades since DS9 finished in 1999. So in 24 years, this is the best. This is the best writing. This is the best acting. I think it's the best directing. We got the freaking Enterprise D back. And that's a new set. They had to rebuild it from scratch. Because
but
original...
I love the reasons as well, because Geordie was saying he was rebuilding her bit by bit, so he would have made some of the changes that some people are just nitpicking about.
No, it's no. I was just being silly about that. And there's the other things, like he said, the engines and the nacelles. Just say the star drive came from USS. What was it, San Antonio or something?
Yeah, something like
but
that.
no, I'm like, this is what I want. This is what we want. This is what we've wanted for the past 6 years.
Proper Trek.
So please, for the love of God, okay, you can do your Starfleet Academy, and 5 people will watch it. We'll pretend it doesn't exist. Give us more of this.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Enterprise D back. Why not just do it? Well, no, it probably would be a bit of a stretch. But you could do an Enterprise D show. But the one thing that I was so impressed by, though, I was saying the set. Because the original Enterprise D set was completely disassembled right after Generations. Because of those of you that don't know, the bridge of the Enterprise D, Voyager, and the NX-01 Enterprise were in the same exact space. So they tore down the original bridge set, saved some parts, but tore down the entire original bridge set right after they finished soundstage photography on Generations, because they had to put Voyager there. And if you want to know, that's one of the reasons why Voyager started in January and not September, because they needed time, because it was the same stage. They had to rip everything down. So Terry Matalas actually, and I am one of these really observant, nerdy people. He did a great job of recreating the bridge. And right after I watched this last night, I actually went back and watched Emergence, which is the second to last episode of the Next Generation. It's pre-Rolaren, so it's kind of the last regular TNG non-finale episode. I'm like, damn, it is similar. Like, it's, some things are not exact, but they also redesigned the Enterprise several times throughout the original series, and the carpet alone changed several times, which is why they threw that joke for people that noticed that. But no, I'm like, just the attention to detail and just the pure love. And when they powered up when they powered up the screens, I was thinking, because they still use the same computer interface, but it's now switched to blue. So when they powered it up, I'm like, oh, it's going to be blue. I'm like, oh my God, no, it's the original yellowish or whatever.
Yeah, I thought that. I thought, oh, it's going to be dark. No,
but it isn't. But then they got obviously recorded, but then they have Majel Barrett as the computer. And then it's like it's frozen in time. It's like Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And they're like, we need to go offline. I'm like, so here you have this thing that's been frozen in time. Now here's the... and I'm fan geeking out, but see, this is my split personality. But how angry was I about 10 minutes ago, and how happy am I now? I need help. I need help, Noel. Help me. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually generally happy. But here's the other question I have. So it's and for a lot of us, it's kind of one of these things where it's the length of time some of these ships are in service. The Enterprise A was actually only in service for 6 years before it was decommissioned. So we're like, that's a little short. Even the original Enterprise at 20 years is a little short. Enterprise D got crashed into a planet so it lasted 8 years. Apparently, we learned that Worf somehow destroyed the Enterprise E, which I actually loved that scene just because it was kind of funny. I thought it was supposed to be the launch ceremony, but in Cullen's video, he said, no, this is actually the decommissioning ceremony for Enterprise F. I'm like, okay, so in the timeline, this is roughly a little over 20 years after Nemesis, when the Enterprise E was being repaired. And obviously at some point after that, Worf destroyed us. So say maybe we're looking at 19, 20 years for the Enterprise F before it's decommissioned. That does seem to be a little short. So it's kind of like an Enterprise A thing. So this is more of the nitpicky stuff. But no, I'm like, just damn, I love this.
I'm not going to lie. This was
Wolf's
my
response
Star
was
Trek.
great.
Sorry, Lee, just real quickly. I'll be brief, I swear.
Yeah, and
This was
Lecard.
my Star Trek, right? But when that scene, when they were in the ship and then they panned to the and I seen where they were going, I just totally lost it. I actually had tears.
I
eyes.
came
It
close,
was-
Noel. As soon as Picard says engaged at the end, it's 30 years ago.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
30 years back in time. It's like, Jesus. This is why I
Brilliant.
don't want this to go to crap. Like,
Yeah,
you've
hopefully
got
not.
fire in a bottle here.
Lee, go on. You give your opinion. But I did ask Terry what the runtime was. We still don't know what the runtime is for the finale, man.
It'll be longer. I'm guessing about an hour, maybe if it was feature length, that would be awesome. If they could give us like an hour and a half.
I was thinking it could be an hour and a half if you think about it, because to finish it off, I think an hour and a half, like a little feature length movie right at the end of the series, would be deadly.
Yeah, but no, I'm hopeful because of whatever this mid-credit sequence is. And honestly, had I not quit YouTube when I did for like a year and a half or however long it was, I probably would have been able to get screener copies of it, because channels that were smaller than mine actually ended up getting them if they wanted them. I'm actually glad I didn't watch this all at once. I'm glad I got to experience this 1 week at a time. It's like literally it's every Thursday, I get home. The first thing I do is take puppy out for a piddle. But then no, it's like Star Trek. It's like literally back like I'm like 14, 15, whatever, going to watch the TNG episode for a week.
Brilliant.
I think even that British show that will not be mentioned by name, while I'm the stick figure, even when it was at its height, I was never as excited for that British show, which shall remain nameless, while I'm the stick figure, as I have been every week for Star Trek. And I haven't been disappointed. It's like just glued to the TV. It's like, damn. And yes, Gobby, hair stood up on the back of my head too. Like, I knew it was coming. I think because there had been seeds dropped throughout, but like it's kind of like as soon as they did it, and we all knew where it was going.
Yeah,
that last shot of the Enterprise D flying off. That's when my skin just went woo.
It's like like the second they come onto that bridge and everything, and the score in the background, like the acting in that scene. And he also noticed the way they had them positioned on the bridge was very similar to how they would have had them positioned during the first season, back when Geordi was still on the bridge. It's like it's like Metalis. You can say what you want about this guy. The guy is a genius. I think the guy does care about the fandom, because he literally showed up in the chat on a live stream I was doing about 2 months ago. I'm like, you. This is what I say to the naysayers, specifically about this show. Like, you got everything you wanted and then some. It's like, damn.
Those fans, look, I've got to the stage. Those fans will never be happy.
Nope. And here's the thing. Just don't watch it. I don't know. It's like, because this is with that British show I shall not mention by name while I'm the stick figure. What my three pillars, which I guess kind of go, no agenda, good writing, respect for the fans. That show, which shall remain nameless, why I'm not forgiving them, is the agenda is definitely still there, and the respect for your fans is non-existent. The writing, be given that it's 1 out of 3, even if it is that, is not that. But Star Trek, that's what it has. This is why it wins. And actually, it was watching Star Trek where I came up with those 3 criteria. The agenda is gone completely. Like, unless you're reading into things that are not, there is no agenda in this season.
No.
The writing is the best we've had since DS9, and the respect for the fans. Terry Metalis is out there on Twitter and in YouTube streams, actually talking to his fans. He's not making fun of it. Like, they've reached all 3 of my criteria.
And look at what's happened with the final episode being shown at an IMAX. The computers crashed from people trying to actually get tickets to go and see it at the IMAX. And it's trending on Twitter. It actually, for the first time in ages, Picard was actually trending on Twitter. That's what I want.
You know what I love the scene with Data?
Oh, God.
He had some of the most the line, there was one
Let's hope he died
particular
quickly.
line, and
Yeah,
I
let's hope he
cracked
died
up. I
quickly.
forget, but he had several lines, and
We
I
ho-
just
I hope we die quickly. That was the line that killed me.
that's
I
the
know.
one.
Yeah.
That's the
No,
one.
it's not just the line; it's the look on his face.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my other favorite scene was when Diana and Worf are reunited, and they're there talking to each other, and Will Wilker's just looking at them because, like, you think Worf is flirting with her, but he's not.
last
Like,
week,
he's
No,
yeah.
but it's funny because they're and it's also Worf. Like, I love Michael Dorn. I think he actually worked better on DS9 than he did on TNG. But in here, it's like there was a line of "It was not my fault," so we're left with the belief that yes, Worf crashed the Enterprise E and destroyed it. And then it's just like sort of the deadpan Klingon thing where he's sort of the kind of the killjoy because like, well, I actually like the setup on the Enterprise E. And they're just like, shut up, Worf. It's like no, but they've all fallen into their characters. Like I don't know what the hell Patrick Stewart was playing for 2 seasons because I look at him, I now see Picard. And
how they didn't think of this
Marina
in the first
Cersei,
place.
though she didn't. I mean, she's got a completely different accent to what she had.
Well, no, she needs to go away, but that's okay. She was. I didn't like her on the show, so nothing's changed.
But in fairness, isn't it such a shame that they didn't start off that this wasn't season 1, or at least this is the direction that they should have went in from the beginning, bringing the original cast back for a legacy series.
Well,
Lee, anyway, go on, give your opinion because I know you're bursting at the seams. What did you think of the latest episode?
I'm going to mute myself.
He's too excited.
Good, yeah, go on, Lee.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all suspected that this was going to be special, and that's one thing that they've managed to do very successfully throughout this season was to balance fan service with plot and character perfectly. There were moments when I think when they were going to get Data, that the fan service was a bit overwhelming. You know, the Kirk reference and all the other things. It was,
we saw Spot as well. Lee, Spot.
So there was a lot of that which I thought, oh god, I'm cramming it in, but it wasn't too bad. This was very beautifully done. We got to see 2 Enterprises. I have to say though, I've never been a great fan of the Enterprise F. Quite honestly, I would have preferred to have seen, them bringing out, the original Enterprise. I know it's destroyed or refitted, but they could have remade it, in Celebration or something. That would have been great. But yeah, I mean, only really 2 criticisms of this.
I know what
episode.
one of them is because you told me.
Yeah.
Go on.
Captain Shaw. One of the great new characters. One of the great new characters of Star Trek we've seen in such a long time. And what do they go and do? They kill him off. Oh God, I just want to shake him for that. I was so.
I know.
But I knew it was coming. That's the thing. I thought he's too good a character. They're going to kill him off. And I was mad as hell when they did that.
But I do love the line at the end because he finally acknowledged.
Yeah, I know.
And said 7 of 9, and it's your.
I also like the way that Picard he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stick around, but no, it was nicely done. But I was just gutted because I love that character. I think that there was so much more they could have done with him, and I'd like to have seen him carry on to the end at least. But I think, he would have been great as a new captain. And I have to say, the Titan as a ship looks more like the Enterprise than any of the Enterprises, let's be honest. It does.
I think it's set up for Jerry Ryan to take over, Lee. I think she'll get her show now, and I think she deserves it because...
I'd be fine with that.
I to be honest with you, I think if she had died and Shaw had gone on, would have made much more impact. Now, it might be a controversial thing to say, but think about it. I think that would have...
you don't kill payoff. 7 of 9 off. No way, man. Sorry.
They did once kill off Kirk. Well, here's what I would propose.
That would have brought him back anyway.
Like,
but,
Picard can't come back. Well, no, Patrick Stewart, because of his age, like this is going to be.
This is
definitely
it
the end
now,
for
yeah.
him.
It's
But
over
how
now.
about a hybrid? Captain Riker was 7 of 9 as his first officer.
Yeah, and have some of the Enterprise crew stick around with some new crew.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Actually, that would.
My other criticism though
Go on,
would be Jack. I think he was hamming this up beyond the realms of credibility as an actor. It was eye-rollingly bad. I'm sorry. I like him in certain scenes, but certain things he cannot emote very well. And it was a bit cringe and a bit over the top. And his accent also is a bit dry. It's a bit EastEnders for me. Other than that, I loved it. And one of my favorite things in this entire fucking episode, perhaps of the entire show, was the bit when the Borg took over all the people under 25.
Yes.
And I was just like, that was so fun. That had to be on purpose.
I saw that.
Cheering. I was laughing my ass off.
I can't believe I didn't bring that up because I was thinking of that. I'm like, that's how you win people back, because it's the goddamn reverse of what we're normally getting.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was so funny.
It was very clever though, that wasn't it? And how they explained how they were able to do it. It's
on the
marvelous.
nose.
Here's the other thing I noticed. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but for the first time, I think probably since Best of Both Worlds, maybe First Contact, but I think really Best of Both Worlds, the Borg were actually terrifying.
Yes.
When you saw the Borg had been watered down, I'm like, I like the sense.
They
was a
just
terrible
killed. There was
but then they brought them back and they're actually threatening again. That's what was like. Voyager watered them down to the nth degree, and then we had.
I agree with you, Voyager watering them down, because I'm a Voyager fan, and
but dude, as soon as Jack is in his shuttlecraft, and you see it come out of the shadows,
oh, that was beautiful.
And then you have Alice Krieg also doing the voice. It was like Best of Both Worlds.
And it looked the sense of scale as it came out of that nebula cloud was like, what? That's the first time, really. Like even when you watch, I don't know, Nemesis or something, and you see a Borg cube, it didn't ever seem to get that sense of scale. But on this, when it comes emerging out of that nebula cloud, you really feel that presence. You know, that sense of scale of this thing. And that was very beautifully done.
Shot is beautiful, man. Man, but that end shot, I know we keep banging on about it, but
you can never bang on enough about that.
Man, I was sitting here, Cheryl was in the room. She heard me giggle, she heard me shout out, and at the end, I couldn't hold it together. I'm being honest, actually, and when I thought Data had actually died, Lore had won, I was actually devastated. I was literally, we've lost Data again. Oh no. Right?
I never fell for that for a second.
But man, I goosebumps. All the emotions. I'm not messing, man.
Here's
I don't care what the naysayers say, right? You're only naysayers because you don't like Alex Kurtzman. This is Trek at its best, man.
And how many times has everybody here watched the last few minutes?
I've watched it over and over.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch the episode again when we finish.
I'm actually doing that too. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I'm watching it again.
Well, you see, this is Hell Frozen Over. When was the last time we were excited about anything that wasn't from like 20 years ago? I'm like, this is, it's like, damn.
I'm buying this box set. Listen, I haven't bought a box set in years. Right, when this comes out just as a singular box set, I'm not going to buy the other 2 seasons because, as far as I'm concerned, they don't exist.
It's a different show.
Right? I'm going to buy this one. I'm going to go out. I'm going to actually even buy, I never buy Blu-ray. I'm going to go out and buy the Blu-ray version. Right?
What I'd love to see them do is, I would love to see this remarketed. Not as Star Trek Picard Season 3, because it's not. Like, you compare the last 2 seasons to this, it's not. Market this, repackage it, redo the title at the beginning. Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 8. That's what this is. No, this isn't Picard season 3. It's watered down. It's Star Trek: The Next Generation, season 8.
I'd agree
Well,
with
you
you
probably
on that
make
one.
your own
Yeah.
cover. You know, get the DVD or
Well,
whatever, and then just
no.
make your own
Also,
cover.
what they need to do is they need to redo the credits, have the names up front, and no, they're not guest stars. They're the main cast. Well, Marina Sirtis, okay, you could throw her to the side if you want, but the rest of them, they're the main cast.
In fairness, a lot of them, until they come to, when they all come together, I suppose, then they are all the main cast, but some of them do pop it in here and there during the series.
Oh, no, well, it's there were episodes of The Next Generation, not every, aside from Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes were the only ones, I believe. No, and Brent Spiner. I think we're the only ones that were in every episode.
Selmar of it was renamed. I agree with you, but I think even without that, look, I think what's going for this is that it's completely different from the 2 previous seasons, and it's its own thing, right?
And this
that's
had to be
what
the
it is. Separate. It clearly is. You can tell it's separate from what came before, and they've done something different for the last season, and it's worked. Why they didn't do this in the first place will be mind-boggling.
Well,
to
no,
me.
Patrick Stewart and Alex Kurtzman's ego. That's why it didn't happen. Because he didn't want. Patrick Stewart did not want anybody from The Next Generation, like none of that cast to appear originally, and then they managed to finagle Brent Spiner and Jonathan Frakes for season 1.
Do you think he felt? I mean, from his performance, especially in that last episode, do you think when he said that line about having his family, well, you know, the whole family, do you get a sense that actually he realized at that point that this is what he was? Because his performance seemed really to improve when they were around.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he lit up. He lit up when he saw them, and he was able to somehow hone his performance and bounce off them. I think he didn't realize how much he missed them, and I think that scene is deliberately put in. I think it is beautiful. And
well, we saw a little bit of this in season 1, as bad as it was, with the Riker Makes Pizza episode. But the chemistry between Stewart and Frakes, Stewart's acting actually was elevated significantly during the one episode that he was on there with Frakes. And keep in mind, like Frakes, he's Riker on set, but he's also behind the scenes. Like he directed 2 of the 4 Star Trek movies or TNG movies. He directed a ton of the episodes.
Of these episodes as well.
Yeah, it's like well, he's also unfortunately directed episodes of STD, but we won't go into that. But no, it's I think Stewart when he's with Frakes, he was elevated, which he wasn't really with Brent Spiner. He was still kind of emotionless, although Spiner wasn't really playing Data. But I think when he had all of them, when he was with Gates McFadden, their scenes alone, you could see it was augmented as well. But yeah, I think it's because they worked together for so many years. There was a chemistry with the Next Generation cast that I don't think any of them, I think even the original series outside of Kirk, Spock, McCoy, maybe Scotty, no Star Trek series has had the chemistry that the TNG cast had. And I think it's more than the sum of its parts. But it just sucks that I agree. Why couldn't we have had this for 3 years? Because imagine if we had 3 seasons. Imagine if this was the first season and then it continued from here and we had 3 seasons of this.
Wow.
And it's like, and this, and it could have been like, the X-Files, which fell flat on its face when it came back and kept getting worse. No, this one, it's like you went back to what made you good, but you updated it. It's, you couldn't do Star Trek or TNG the way it was shot in 94 when it finished. You couldn't shoot that now. So they've retained what worked from the original show, but they've updated it, but updated it enough so it still works from within a modern context. And it shows that you can't, there's no reason for any of these franchises to have died the way they did. And I guess the first one to come back was kind of Ghostbusters. Afterlife, I love the first 2 acts, just skip the third act. But, done right, these things can come back. And I think, and my next video will be on Star Trek Picard on the Grumpy Yellow channel. But it will be a happier video where it's going to be, and I'm going to ponder the question, and the video title I can tell you right now, it's Did Picard Season 3 Save Star Trek? possibly. But that's it's going to be a longer form video, and it's going to be more analytical. But that's what I'm going to analyze.
They have work
Paramount
still to do.
Paramount are going to be completely stupid at this point if they're not going to see the reaction to this and not capitalize on that by doubling down with Kurtzman for this Academy thing and all the rest of it. I just
Dumbest
worry that
announcement ever.
Yeah, but hang on.
it seems so
Chris
tone
says
deaf,
they do that, but then they continue this vein with other
But will
shows.
they?
What they've shown with Picard, it'd be okay because we won't watch the crap.
Have two strains of and I think this is also because Kurtzman actually owns the Picard rights, and so I think it's because it was under Kurtzman Trek. So here's what you do: you have two strains of Star Trek. So you have Starfleet Academy and that dumpster woke shite that 5 people are going to watch. Okay, let them have that. Put it in their little corner. Have it as a thumbnail at the bottom of your website, so you hide it from the rest. And then you have the second strain, which is real Star Trek. So yes, give us more of this. You can do your Star Trek Academy, and nobody will watch it. And if there's a way that we can block things from appearing on streaming services, that would also be great, because we'd all block that show from even popping up. And then we'll have real Star Trek. So yeah, do that, but no, give us real Star Trek. And
give us more of this.
And I think with Strange New Worlds, there's a lot of room for improvement there. And I think,
but there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think you could have Star Trek Legacy, have that, have Strange New Worlds. It does need some work, and I think there may need to be some recasting with some of the characters. But for the most part, written well, I think it works. And so you have those as your 2 shows. I could care less what you do with the cartoons, and then let Kurtzman do his little Star Trek Academy, and maybe don't tell him rebrand it as something that's not Star Trek. Just call it The Future is Shite Part 1. And we'll just not pretend that doesn't happen.
Well, that's a nice summary from Cultivated Media,
yes, who
channeled his inner ball streak there that time.
No. Okay, so here's the thing, Noel. So because I got this, somehow I was supposed to rebrand, but then I got really mad and came back. So I literally have like a dual online identity at the moment. So the streamer is going to be mainly Chris from Cultivated Media. But when I get grumpy, the name changes and that blue or that yellow text comes out. But yes, so to avoid setting me off and temporarily regenerating into Yellow Bulls Trek, yes, whenever you mention that show, it's going to come with a lecture.
Well, I didn't even bring it up tonight.
No.
I don't even know how it started.
No, that's what's going to happen though, because that's how and because I'm CMI, I don't mention that show by name. But whenever you bring up that show, the yellow text comes out, and I will not be silent because Yellow Bulls Trek is very mad, and he will give the same lecture.
Are you wearing yellow face?
No, I'm not the Simpsons.
No. Right. Anyway, Lee, have you got anything to add to the end of this topic? If not, we'll do the channel shout outs and we'll wrap it up for tonight.
I'm just both eager to watch the final episode as much as I am terrified.
Yeah.
Because that could be it. You know, that they have to really prove to us that Star Trek can continue.
Well, it goes one way or the other
quality.
next week. It's either a massive success, like the rest of the series.
I think
has
it will
been.
be. I think all the signs point to it being phenomenal. So let's.
But people that have already seen it have said that it is. So I don't think we are going to be let down.
Dude, I trust Dave Cullen.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Dave since 2009 when he actually covered. I was actually one of his first 1,000 subs. He was actually the reason why both mine and Gary's channels took off, because he gave us a shout out. As soon as he called it and said this is better, like he's as far as a grifter from you can get. He's one of the few YouTubers that is genuinely sincere. As soon as he said give it a try, I said okay, I'll give it a try, and I did, and I wasn't disappointed. And he said we won't be disappointed by next week's episode, so I've got faith in that.
Fantastic. Lee?
Yep, I agree with that. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be epic. I think it's going to be epic. And it's been so long to be excited about a TV show like this. I'm thrilled with that, and I'm really glad. I know that not everyone's happy. I feel sad that everything's been sort of destroyed so much that they won't give it a chance, or I can understand why they might not like it because the swearing, or it's very darkly lit, or it's got the Federation doing mad experiments on life forms and things which are very counter to Star Trek. I do understand that.
Yeah,
but I think we have to look at it as what it is compared to what we're getting everywhere else.
But whether they like it or not, the way I looked at it is that like the Federation, the Klingons, they all had their dark sides.
Well, I think everything gets corrupt. I mean, you can't have a utopia forever and ever and ever without things going wrong. I think corruption does creep in.
They already done it. They've already done it. They did it in Deep Space Nine, and so it's there is the argument where it got way too dark, especially in Picard season 1. That was overboard, but it's never been cherries and sunshine. I'm like and that was one, as much as we love what Gene Roddenberry created. That was one of the problems in the early Next Generation things. His idea was humanity had evolved, so there was no interpersonal conflict, and from within there would be no problems within Starfleet. And he became ill in season 3. Other people took over, Michael Piller and Ronald D. Moore and Rick Berman, for the most part. They did bring some conflict in. They did that very deliberately in Evolution, which was the season premiere of season 3 with Wesley and his mother, which was say we're changing course. So no, it's not all rosy. Like Deep Space Nine proved that, okay, if the Federation was really threatened, and it was threatened to the edge of extinction, they did hold on to their values, but they stretched them a little bit, and that was proven when they tricked the Romulans into the war. It was a different darkness with the first 2 seasons of Picard, where suddenly the Federation elected Trump, apparently, and they're all corrupt, and that's exactly where they were going with this. That was too far. The darkness in this is very similar. Actually, it's the same threat as Deep Space Nine. It's that same level of darkness where the Federation has been invaded and overtaken from within through external invaders. So, no, it's not. If you're saying it's too dark, the darkness in Discovery was, all the toxic. It was just garbage. Everything's just terrible because everybody's terrible. Everybody's toxic. Picard was Trump runs the Federation in the first 2 seasons. That was different. This is the type of darkness that we had in Deep Space Nine. This is the type of darkness that works because Starfleet does have that nobility, and you see that with Captain Shaw. He's a grumpy captain, but he does have that nobility.
He has these principles. Yeah, that scene with 7 of 9 where where Amanda Plummer's character, what's her name again?
I call her the grumpy shapeshifter.
Yeah, but she's there and she's gonna assassinate the crew, and 7 of 9 calls out and he pulls her back. Because the Starfleet protocols, and all of this, he's giving her a lecture even while they're being held hostage because he's sticking to his beliefs.
Yeah, but no, it's the argument that's saying this is too dark, it doesn't hold water because Deep Space Nine has always been considered to be Star Trek at its creative peak. Deep Space Nine was very dark. This is dark in a similar way. You can't compare this to just the dreary depressingness of the disgracery of things, and you can't compare it to the first 2 seasons of Picard where the darkness was the Federation elected Trump. This is completely different, and the one thing that is understandable from both sides is people say this is still visually very dark. I agree. It looks cool. It's done because it looks really good on a TV. It's not lit in the way it would have been in the 90s because it was lit for standard depth TVs. It had to be lit that way, even though it was shot on film. So it does add cinematic stuff, but yes, I would not want to work on one of these ships because it's too dark. But again, anybody notice that the Enterprise D was just as bright as it was on the
It was.
TV
That was
show?
lit
Yeah,
up
but
really well.
you have to think if you're flying a spaceship and you're working, I don't know, 12-hour shifts or something, you don't want eye strain. I think if you had it too bright, it would be too much eye strain.
Exactly.
Well, it's kind of like the other thing, and this is my last nitpick. And they've done this in this season, but not as much as the other two, where they have like these virtual screens where they're translucent. Could you imagine looking at a translucent screen like that for 8 hours a day? Like,
oh my god, your eyes wouldn't know where to focus, would they?
Yeah,
The other end of the
exactly.
room or right in front of
Yeah.
you.
You'd all be like Geordie and eat his visor.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, obviously next week when we're here, the finale would have dropped. And I suppose next week's stream, we'll start with that. Obviously,
Okay, so, and I'm going to set forward some ground rules if I'm here next week, Noel. So this is my ground rules because I want to. It's going to be happy, and I may actually have a Star Trek emblem as my avatar. So, can we agree? So next week, no mentioning that British show. Yes.
Oh, I'm not gonna bring up the Brit. I didn't even bring up the British show.
Okay, so nobody's gonna bring up the British show. Nobody's gonna bring up the Sam kind of stuff. Here's what we're gonna do next week, Noel. Although it's your stream, so
well, I'll tell you what.
These are my recommendations.
I'll make a deal with you.
We're gonna make it a
you
happy
two
stream.
guys, right? I throw in articles in our little chat all the time.
No, honestly,
instead of me doing that all the time, you two scour the internet.
I did, and you didn't bring anything that I put in up, so I don't know.
There's one thing. The only thing I want to talk about next week is Star Trek. Because literally, this is where I'm going into this.
We'll do a Star Trek special.
We'll do a Friday Night Contact Star Trek Picard finale special.
Honestly, this is
right.
I haven't been this excited for an episode of Star Trek since I was 13 years old in 1990, waiting for the Best of Both Worlds Part 2. I haven't been this excited for any bit of TV, including regeneration episodes of that show that the stick figure won't mention by name. I've never been this. It's so literally 33
someone that
years
doesn't
old.
want us to mention that British show that will name nameless. You seem to bring it up quite a lot, so you stop bringing it up.
No. When I'm CMI, I don't mention it by name.
Oh, he has a way out. He has an answer for everything, doesn't he?
Gaslighting the crap out
I
of
know
you.
he is. Just don't mention it. Nobody else will mention it. Simple as that. And don't look at the chat because sometimes people do mention it. But I'll tell you what, now, in fairness, you're right. I'm really excited for
Disaster Area says, hello there, dear chap. He says, we get news of a spin-off next week.
I hope that will happen. I am hoping and praying. Give me something that isn't shit. Give me my Star Trek back. That
Put
British
Metalis in charge.
Done. Star Trek is over. All the other ones, leave Metalis in charge. Give me my yes, I'm saying me because I'm being selfish. Give me my 1990s Star Trek back. Give me something I could be happy about, that I can actually enjoy, so I can ignore everything else that's happening in modern day. Just come on, before we die, give us something that doesn't suck.
Anyway, on that depressing note.
That's not depressing. I didn't even get to give my shout out, Nolan. For the first time, I actually have something to shout out.
No, we're not. Yeah, we're gonna do the shout outs now. I'm not wrapping up right now.
Because I haven't been able to plug that channel on this yet. So.
Right, so you'll be able to do that now in a second. Just hang on. So next week, we'll have a special Friday Night Contact where we will be talking about Star Trek Picard, and it will be good because we're gonna geek out. And I will say I saw Gobby Guy in the chat earlier on as well. If you're available and free, and if you want to come on and geek out with the rest of us on Friday, you're more than welcome to do so. But let's start off with the channel shout out. So obviously I'm back next week, so come and join me. I want to mention Drawing Jack Rabbit's channel. If you could go and check that out. I did a little short as well where I put up his artwork and I have tagged his channel in it. So go and check out his channel. And obviously, as you know, he has set up a new channel. If you can go and check that out as well, I really appreciate it. And Scottish Stavros and friends wrestle with pop culture, and of course, Gobby Guy as well. Go and subscribe to his channel, and Dan from the Space Book as well. So I'll hand you over to Lee. Who would you like to plug this week, mate, and plug your own social medias too?
Well, before we do that, as we do every week, that you always forget, is that we should talk about, or at least say something that we're looking forward to watching, or that we want to recommend.
Well, we have. We've literally told everybody for the last 20 minutes that we're looking forward to Star Trek Picard.
No.
Oh, you want to do another one? Okay, right.
No,
okay,
like,
fair
we
enough.
all
Jesus
we all
Christ.
say, by the way, go and watch this, which is really
Right,
good.
but then what would you like to recommend this week? Then? I thought,
would
Jesus.
highly like to recommend the best film of 2023 so far.
Tetris.
And one of my favorite films probably of all time right now, because it's just brilliant, is Tetris. Tetris, the movie. If you haven't watched it, it's on Apple TV, or you can go, I don't know, sell the high. But I look, I think you can get a free subscription for a week. You can watch it. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's a beautifully made film. It's charming. It's funny. It's intelligent. Great characters, based on a true story. It's got all the things. It's got a brilliant car chase with a bunch of Trabants. It's mental. It's such an insane plot that you can't believe. And the performances of Robert Maxwell and all these characters in there, and it's mind-blowingly good. Taron Egerton is the main character.
Yeah, he's going to be some.
This is the Nintendo movie to watch, in my opinion. Forget the other one. Go and watch.
Apparently,
Tetris.
it seems to have been kind of shady. The goings on behind, from what I saw from the trailer.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's all Cold War
bonkers
stuff. Yeah,
this doesn't sound like the Emerson game I used to play.
It's set in the Glasnost period of the Russian collapse. Prior to the collapse. So it's insane. It's espionage. It's double backstabbing, double things, and spies and all sorts of crap. It's joyous. It's such a good film. You will enjoy it. It's something you might catch yourself going, "What the hell is going on here?" But what's going? But it keeps you on your toes, and it's very entertaining. It's very enlightening, and it's fantastic. I just can't highly recommend it enough. It's such a good film. So well done, Apple TV, for that great stuff.
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's what I'd like to promote. My appearances. I'm probably going to be on the Brown Alliance on Sunday, so go and check that out for the end of week musings. Probably, maybe, possibly going to be on either the Movie Cynic or Little Platoon's channel. They swap between the two each week on Monday, where we just talk about pop culture and various things. That I might be on that, I might not be, I don't know yet. So there's that. You can find me on at Aldred, which is my YouTube channel, where my CGI shit is on there. I haven't updated it for a long time, so I need to get some work done. And you can find me on the Twitter at The Problem Being, and that's it, really.
Fantastic. And finally, he's been probably itching to do this. So finally, Ballstrek is back with us again.
I've regenerated again.
So would you like to tell everybody where they can find you? And if there's any channels you would like to give a shout out to, you're more than welcome to do so.
Hello there, piss babies. Sorry, I had to be Ballstrek there for a second. That was a bad imitation. Okay, so thing that I want to promote. So outside of Picard, everything current year is complete shite. But Scream Factory, who have been dropping the ball a bit lately, but sometimes they do good things. So for anybody who's been looking to get Sorority House Massacre on Blu-ray, which I have been one of them because it's been out of print for a very, very long time. It was barely in print at all, like 15 years ago. But Scream Factory just announced a limited edition, limited to 1,500 units if you want to get Sorority House Massacre. And I ordered mine yesterday, and it was not cheap to import to Canada, so that's my fun budget for the next little bit. Things that I've watched recently outside of Picard. I watched Communion this week, another Scream Factory limited edition release that came back into print for a day a month ago that I finally got, but you can't get it anymore. But there are international versions. So this is basically Christopher Walken versus aliens based on the book that came out in the late 80s. The movie is from 1989. As long as you can get past some of the not very good alien makeup, this actually has some of the most zaniest, wackiest Christopher Walken performances I've seen in years. It's both serious and insane because literally, even though it's supposed to be serious, if you're going to cast Christopher Walken as somebody who's been kidnapped by aliens and having one of those scenes being Christopher Walken being alien or anal probed, it's nuts. I loved it. I loved every second of it. It is both ridiculous and interesting and actually very freaky. And we don't see things like this anymore. So I would recommend Communion.
True story.
Based on a true story and freaky as hell. And you can see the X-Files actually stole some stuff from this because this predates, well, the movie predates the X-Files by 3 years. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend Communion. And if you wanted Sorority House Massacre, if you're in Region 1, pre-order the Scream Factory, even if in the US it's not very cheap. And if you're in Canada, it's, like I said, that's my fun money for the month. But that's okay because I got something that other people won't get. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And what did I forget? Oh, yes. So for the first time in a very long time, I am Bulls Trek right now. So I have a YouTube channel that was basically abandoned for over a year. It's now back. I put up a video last week. It pissed off everybody it was supposed to piss off, and it's doing relatively well. I think it's around 14,000 views right now, so I'm enjoying that. I lost my voice while recording it, and it was awesome. I will have a video coming out soon, which is going to be because everybody said, "Oh, you came back and just yelling." No, I'm going to do one of my happier videos on Star Trek Picard, but I will get a little grumpy when I kind of regale the tales of the past 5 years. But then it's going to get happy, and then I'm going to geek out for a bit, so that one's going to be a little bit longer. So it is youtube.com/BullsTrek, bringing you joy since September 2007. I can't believe it's been that long, but I've been doing this for almost 16 years now. Jesus Christ. I have a split personality on Twitter. So if you want to see me piss people off, I have my old channel, originally set up in December 2008, which would be Bulls Trek, at Bulls Trek on Twitter, where it's basically just to piss people off and to be potty mode. If you want to look at my other split personality, the happy stuff, where I talk about things that I like, I am also, just give me a second. Noel, sing a song for a second.
What's going to happen? He's going to change over back to the other.
I'm not saying anything. This is going to get really hard.
Okay, he's changing over. He's changing over.
I'm not.
The avatar. He is.
Okay, so no, I'm not. It's just don't spoil the things.
Very similar logo.
Oh no, Lee, don't start, man. I need to go.
I am now Chris from Cultivated Media, where we discuss things that we enjoy in a civil and calm manner. And I focus mainly on my love of horror movies. And while I'm not doing any videos at the moment as Cultivated Media, you can follow my horror-themed YouTube channel at horror_fan1978. My gas bill just came in. This is gonna suck.
Speaking of horror.
Yeah.
You've got a new channel. I didn't know that. Could someone in the chat put it in the...
No, I got an old channel.
Oh. How come
Well,
I've never? Oh, the old channel. Oh, the channel that we used to be on.
at
Oh,
Bulls
yeah, I'm
Trek.
still subscribed to that. You've just changed now. Okay, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
my
that's
bad.
me. So we're all excited and we're all here.
Fantastic. Well, sadly, I've nothing to recommend, because I've just been focused on YouTube, gone down the rabbit hole of the moon landings and stuff because we're geared into the moon again. So what I've been doing, I've been watching conspiracy theories, but then I've been watching official NASA documentaries and stuff like that, leading up to when we do lift off next year, heading to the moon. We might actually have our own very own moon landing like they did in the 60s. This is going to be great. This hopefully history in front of our eyes. I don't care about the astronauts, right? How the media have spun it because there's an agenda with them. The 3 astronauts that have been chosen for this mission, and you know what? I wish them the best of luck. I really do, man. And I hope, for me to kind of quell any of this conspiracy theory stuff now this time around. We've got the technology. I would suggest that NASA do a 24-hour live, just keep live for the whole way to the moon. I think they should do that, have the channel set up that we can actually see as the craft is moving through space. I think that would be amazing. And obviously then we get to see the footage on the moon. It's going to be, I'm actually buzzing.
Oh my god!
I just hope it's not a hoax. Anyway,
can I just say that there's a
Here we
channel
go.
on YouTube called Horror Fan 1978, all one word, and it says Horror Fan 1978, 171 subscribers. She, her, BLM, triple vax, love is love.
Oh well.
Wow.
I shit ye not.
So,
Well, yeah, they do anything, but yes, who cares?
wow, man. Some people are just sad. Anyway, look, where we're going to leave now, let the saddos concoct our next bull crap. We're going to be waiting all week now, next week, waiting for Thursday to come. And I'm with Chris. I haven't been this excited in a long, long time. Next Generation was my Star Trek. Obviously, I'd watched the original series growing up as a kid as well, but Next Generation was out when I was growing up, and I have a soft spot for that. But the way they've done this series of Picard has just been absolutely fantastic, and I just can't wait to see what they do. I like Lee. I'm gonna bag of nerves, but at the same time, I'm just really excited. This is how you get fans interested. So wake up, Hollywood. Wake up, Bad Wolf Studios, BBC. This is the way to do it. People will go and flock and watch your show. I mean, Lee spoke about the servers going down. That tells you everything that you need to know. They couldn't even handle the traffic because so many people were watching. And that's a testament to Terry. And Terry, before next week's finale, right now, it won't change no matter what happens. But I have to say thank you for giving us a little bit of our childhood back. It's meant a lot. And I wish you all the best for the finale. And like a lot of fans, I think we're just waiting and counting the days until it comes. So congratulations. And can't wait. So we'll leave it there, folks. Have a good one. I hope you have enjoyed the stream tonight. I want to thank me guests, problem being regular host, Cultivated Media, but / Ballstrek, multiple personality guy. And we also had Jack Main on with us as well. And we want to thank him for coming on too. So good night, folks. Thanks everybody in the chat for taking part. We will see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Go and check out those other channels that Lee is going to be on. And obviously check out the Spacebook and all those other channels. And we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.